Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Space.Radio on YouTube. I'm your host, Marquise, and we have a very special guest. Also, my aka Dr. Door, in case you guys would like to call me that. I'm not a real doctor. I just go by Dr. Door for Dimensions of Reality. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. I strongly encourage you to check out Dave Scott right here in this spot. Only tonight, you got me instead, and Jessica Jones, the Cryptid Huntress, right here on Space.Radio YouTube channel. And if you cannot get enough of SOR, you know what you can do. You can check out those archives. They are free at youtube.com/space.radio. And if you would like to show some support, you can go ahead and show some love by smashing that like button and abducting the subscribe to the Space.Radio YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Twitter at Space.Radio, Instagram at Space.Radio Show. And you can join that Facebook group and join the conversation at Space.Radio on Facebook. Seriously, you guys want to be a part of that. It's a lot. There's a lot of information there. There's a lot of things that are shared, and you can be a part of all these conversations with us. Our website is space.radio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. I'll tell you right now, I want to rock out to that intro like all day long. If they could give an extended version that I can put on repeat while I do my research, I would love that. I'm going to talk to Dave about that one. And a great way to show support for what we do here at Space.Radio is by shopping at our online store at space.radio.com. What's up, chat? I want to give a special shout out to the gold, the silver, and the bronze, and then we're going to bring out our special guest for tonight. We have for the gold, Black Dragon. You are the last dragon. You possess the power of the... You guys don't know that, so that's okay. We have the silver with Ravens Creek Charms. What's up, Ravens Creek Charm? You're all over the place. It's good to see you here. And for the bronze, we have Alien Universe. What a fitting name for today's show, for any show actually on this platform. Alien Universe, it really is an actual alien universe. We talk about it every day, y'all. Everybody else, what's up? Brown Doors, all the world's stage, what's up? And everyone in the chat, I want to say what's up to you all. But right now, I want to bring in our guest because I know Dave does these 30-minute breaks, and I want to respect that. And I want to get as much conversation as I possibly can. So let's bring on the wonderful, the magnificent, the beautiful, the spiritually enlightened LaLa Bright. LaLa, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. I love that. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. I have witnessed your greatness in real time, so you gotta understand. Like, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you after our last conversation, which we can keep it between us, but it was a wonderful, wonderful experience between you. Bob was very helpful relaying messages. Honestly, I'm still thinking about that time with you. So I just want to talk about what you want to talk about, but I want to say thank you personally for that time that you had with me. I should have said something before the show, but I'm saying it now. Thank you for that. That was a big deal. It was a big deal.
You're very welcome. And it's always nice to kind of experience. I feel a part of someone else's family for just a little bit, and that love. And so it was nice. So I appreciate you letting me into your energy. It was in a non-creepy way, you know.
No, it was honestly, seriously, it was I wanted to reach out to somebody about my experience in a non-invasive way, right? Mm-hmm. And I honestly, the irony in that statement is that the most invasive thing is to open your energy up to somebody, but it feels safe. You still feel safer, especially when it's somebody you trust. and I haven't been able to come across somebody I trust enough to open that energy up. And Science Bob, of course, LaLa Bright is amazing. You know what? Science Bob is correct, and we're all biased here, Science Bob. He's awesome, man. Honestly, when I talk to a lot of people in the field, I've talked to some really intelligent people, some very well educated and informed people. But when I talk to Bob, is when I really feel like I got to be on my A game, because Bob will correct you in real time. It's like, oh crap! I want to make sure that I said the right thing. It's awesome, but it keeps you on your toes. Like Bob is just a great person to talk to, very informed. You two, your dynamic is so unique. You have the super sciencey guy and the super spiritual woman together in a relationship. I've got to ask you, as an intro to our conversation, can you tell me what that's like?
Oh, it's super great. No, it's helpful because I've learned a lot that I didn't know. It's helped me balance the spiritual world and the scientific and real world. And he gets so excited about everything. I'm like, oh my God, look, it's an alien. He's like, it's a bug. Calm down. So I need that. But it's nice. I've taught him certain things. He's taught me things, and it's nice to merge the two worlds together, because it's not always healthy to just look at something one way.
Yeah. It's for me personally, I get excited. I'm like you. I get really excited about a lot of different things, especially information. It's like candy to me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this new report that was supposed to be by the FBI. You got to read it. It says, and come to find out, it's not an actual FBI document. But if I didn't tell somebody, I would have been out here talking about fake FBI documents. So I feel you. I've been there too. And when it comes to being in the public, if you get one thing wrong, it can be really bad for you.
Oh my God.
So you're lucky to have somebody to help you keep things, keep things measured with that perspective. That's great. That's awesome.
It's nice to be. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The one thing is when I do have something legitimate and amazing and I post it, there's always a few special people that,
Oh yeah. Of course. I know.
And the good thing about Bob is that he will go in on them scientifically and back me up. And it's all like, he's making sense for everybody to understand. Yeah. So it's good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I thought that I had a high tolerance, but I think that it's Bob. When I look at him, okay, so Willard Wright says, Marquise, is she able to interpret uncontrollable astral projections? We'll talk about astral projection in a little bit. I'm going to save that comment because you did put it in all caps. I want to respect that. That is a good question. I actually wanted to ask you about astral projection and remote viewing at some point tonight anyway. But yes, that is, you're lucky to have somebody there for you for that, because for me, I try not to read the comment sections at all. But when I do, it's like, oh no. Yeah. I did say something stupid tonight. And it's every time. So, but it's okay. I'm really resilient when it comes to that stuff. I just keep going. I don't even care. I got it. I can't look back. I just keep going. And when you've done something in so many things like yourself, you have to just keep going. Like you have too much work to do, right? You've got so much to offer the world that for you to be stopped by people, trolls or whatever, even people that are just skeptical and don't understand, it's not, you can't do that. And I can tell that you are definitely tolerant of those types of people.
Yes.
More so than myself. Because you're brave, man. You put that stuff out there with bravery and courage.
I'm from Boulder City, so I've got tough skin.
All right, there you go. So talk to me. What's going on? What's the latest news with what you're working on, and what's been going on with your experiences?
Okay. Well, right now, what's exciting to me is that we have a new visitor. We found it we go outside at night, and of course we have our video camera that starts recording when there's motion, right?
Yeah.
And so we'll go outside and I'll start taking pictures with his camera. It has a really big flash. And I noticed I got a feeling, and I looked at the video. And sometimes when I would do the flash, something metallic in the sky would reflect off the flash. And then I'll do another flash right after it, and it's disappeared. So if it were a plane or something else, we'd see it fly away, right?
Right.
And once it knew it was caught, it would go away and not come back until the next night. And I was just playing around with it, and it kept happening. And for a few days, I took a break. And on the fourth night of not doing anything, I got this just feeling like I had to look at the video. And I did. And the thing flashed at us.
Wow.
It flashed its own light at us and went away. And it was calling to us like, hey, we're still here. Come on out and talk to us. And I found that really interesting.
So what kind of visitor are we looking at here? Is it a orb? Is it spiritual? Is it
Some kind of craft?
A craft.
Yeah.
So it's something intelligent, something
Yes.
that's of an intelligence. Okay. This is really important for me because when I think of the phenomena, I believe that I have a very imbalanced perspective. I don't get a lot of exposure to the orb stuff.
Mhm.
And I think it's important because that is an entirely different aspect of the phenomena. We got craft that are engaging military, and then we have orbs that are going to people's houses,
Right.
waking them up in the middle of the night or communicating with them consciously. People talk about this. I am unfamiliar entirely with this whole phenomena. And so tell me, how do you know that it's a welcoming kind of presence, and what types of, I guess, markers or indications do you get from them that there's a communication and it's not just arbitrary, meaning it's just they're doing things irrespective of you even paying attention to it?
Right. So as a psychic, I always right away get a bad feeling if something has bad intentions. It's immediate.
Okay.
And I usually have really bad nightmares too if something's around hiding that isn't good or whatever the situation is. And at first, when we started doing with this new craft or being, I thought maybe it's just there and I caught it accidentally. But the fact that it flashed back when we stopped going out lets me know it's paying attention, it's watching. It can communicate telepathically because I wouldn't have looked at the video if they would not have told me to. So this is what's interesting to me. I want to know, I'm trying to find a way to get them to come closer. Either the craft closer or them visit or anything. But I know the big blockage is I have a fear of what they might really look like. And that's a big problem that I'm trying to overcome, honestly.
Okay. So have you ever has anything ever happened like that kind of experience where you see it and it's terrifying?
I've seen it before and it's not terrible. So when I see crafts or them, they do this thing where they numb me, and it happens to a lot of people, which is unusual because I have anxiety in general. But I'm just completely numbed down and I just look at them. But they look it's just them being different, and it's my human brain. I have to overcome that. We're taught that this is wrong, this is scary, they're evil.
Yeah.
And so that's my human brain. I have to tell, like, no, that if something were going to happen, they would have beamed me out of the house. But you know what I mean? Like zapped at something,
Laser beams all over.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. If somebody Matt Ford, right? He's the Good Trouble show's lead there. He's the one who runs the Good Trouble show. Awesome guy. He talked about an orb that was over top of his house that I believe he said started to produce poltergeist effect. Now, you don't know anything about that probably, and I'm not going to ask you to say, oh, what is his experience specifically? But let's just say that anybody out there experiences something similar, an orb and then poltergeist activity afterwards. What would you tell that person about how to interpret that experience or what to do in that situation?
Well, first I would say I would protect him and his home with sage. I know it sounds silly, but it works.
I think that's legit. I think this
Just in
house, my
case.
house was, yeah.
Right. And I would tell him to inside talk to them. And sometimes people get images of answers. Sometimes people get words. Sometimes they come in dreams. But these beings, whatever they might be, spirits or aliens or whatever energy being, they do communicate with us. We just have to slow down enough to listen. And so I would protect, and then I would ask questions, and I would slow down and listen.
And is there any other energy work that you do beforehand, or because I know that you're just in general a very spiritual and intuitive, energetic kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
Would this apply to somebody who doesn't do that kind of work, where they could just consciously? Okay, so it's by volition.
Just a lot of people
intention.
yeah, exactly. It's like well, a lot of people like meditate. I forget to meditate all the time. So I'm not that type of person, but a lot of people like doing that. But you don't have to. You don't have to be the guru person. Just ask in your mind, what are you here for? And they'll let you know. Either creepy things are going to start happening, and then you really have to protect yourself, or they'll let you in on the information. And that means that you have a path that they want you to take for either soft disclosure or a personal path, but these beings pick certain people for reasons.
Yeah, I've really been trying to actually look into this aspect of the phenomena, because as you know, I'm a little bit more on the fear side.
Right.
Like I'm scared of it. I know that everybody that I've talked to says, like, everybody that is involved with this says that fear is involved, but it's mostly because of our like, we're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of what is it? Why is it here? Look at it, what it's doing. Nothing should be able to do that. These are the kind of things that we're afraid of versus whether or not it's actually scary. Like, is it actually scary? Probably not. I just, like, if I hear somebody screaming in the crowd, I'm running, right? I'm not going to stick around. What is it? A fire? Is there a gun shooting? What is happening? Like, I'm not going to ask questions. I'm going to wait. So, yeah, I find it interesting. There's a lot of brave people out there who are ready to, like, face this danger. And I think that for me, you're the kind of person that's able to face these things. And maybe that's why. Maybe it's having that fearlessness or courage, I guess you could say, because you said you do have fear. Yeah. It's having courage that allows you to engage this. What about CE5? Do you think that that's a good type of way to communicate with these phenomena?
Yeah, I would do it safely, because look, whether people want to believe or not, there's stuff out there that we just don't know about and that we can't see. And some of it's not the best. So you have to be really particular about the words and intentions you use, because they're all listening. You know what I mean? And I want to say, one more thing I wanted to say. These beings, I've learned so far that if they're good and they know that you're scared, they will back off a little bit and then come around when you tell them you're ready, which I found amazing. I didn't know they would do that, But so that's another clue as you're working with somebody that's safe.
Do you think there's a report recently about an FBI document? Remember, I joked about the FBI document. It's a real document, by the way. It's not I think when I did FBI or CIA, now I can't remember which one, but it's an official one. I went onto the .gov site and to make sure. The file was black. It was very hard to tell, but once you get the clarity and contrast fixed, you can see it. It's claims that the gray aliens can turn into orbs.
Yeah.
And merge into a single craft.
Yep. I've seen it.
That's so bizarre. That's so weird.
Dude, I thought I was losing my mind. I didn't even know it happened, It was by accident. I was driving, and I used to live by an army place. I guess I shouldn't really say what it is, and a lot of activity goes on around there. And so I'm driving by, and there's a helicopter that's not marked, and then two other helicopters behind just staying there. And I see all these bright orbs flickering in and out. And I'm like, am I losing my mind? What? But the helicopter started to follow them. And then they disappear, and it became this craft. And then I knew that they could do that. And then here at our home, an orb flew by our camera at night. It morphed into a human shape, but it was still a light. It
Wow.
moved the camera, went into an orb again, and flew off.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
have that on video for anybody to see. I mean,
Oh.
it's amazing.
So I gotta show you this because I found it myself on doing some research about the Peru situation, and I just felt like it needed to like this. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's true, but I just want to know your take on what you think it may be. This isn't a very good picture. I'm gonna try to zoom in on it. There are better ones out there, but this is the picture that was alleged to be of one of the beings.
That's
And
what we saw. Yeah.
see, that's what I'm honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. And I know this is woo. And I apologize if anybody hears me and says, Marquise, Dr. Door, how could you say that? I think this is very convincing, to say the least, because it does look like there's an origin point of light, and that there's a being there. And honestly, when you think about what they're capable of, the fact that they turn into light, they can sometimes emanate light. They turn into these orbs, as you just confirmed yourself that they turn into orbs. I can't see why this wouldn't at least be very compelling.
Absolutely. And I've learned that I used to think spirits and aliens and other things were all completely separate. But I'm learning they're very similar and connected. And they all come from this energy source, which looks like light to us. And even certain crafts that we've gotten pictures or video of, the really big ones, they all have this energy ball that's connected to a metal arm. And they're different shaped crafts, but they have the same thing. And I think it's all connected somehow. I want to know everything, but I don't know how to go about. So I have to be more patient because they're like, you have to wait. We can't tell you everything. But I'm interested. I want to know what this energy is. I know it's source, but I want to know, I guess, the scientific part of what it is.
I'm honestly, I would like to know too. As you know me very well, I want to know from a distance. Like, give me a document that explains it.
I don't want to die. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part. Like, I don't want to be sitting in my, my office just meditating and wake up to an orb in my room. I'd freak out. I would be going crazy. But I want to know too. I just wish I understood. What are they? Why are they here? What are they doing? How long have they been here? Like what's, and what's in store for us? I hear people say that this is connected to the afterlife, that these beings, these orbs and everything is all connected to the afterlife. It makes me feel like there's so much more to reality. And we're like, somehow we're being, overstimulated with one aspect of reality. This one, the one we can touch, we can feel, we can smell, we can taste. But there's something else going on here when we close our eyes and look within, so to speak, that there's a much deeper and richer world that's happening all around us at all times.
Absolutely.
Another dimension, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. That's what I want to know. Where do we go? And they can all travel the same way through portals, and however, we've gotten video of portals opening up. But I think, like you said, here, it's not our fault because I'm not to sound like a hippie, but the stuff they put in our food, air, water, the wires around us. I mean, it's hard to get out of that mind space to begin with, and the fear they put on us of being different. Nobody wants to be, different and made fun of.
No, it reminds me of every superhero ever. They're like, like they get it's actually part of the superhero's journey, where they come in, they encounter something that makes them change, right? That challenges their worldview.
It's called a night something, right? What's it called?
I don't remember the exact part of the hero movie that is, but they and then they have to decide, like, okay, do I from here? I don't want to. They run away from it. They reject their calling, so to speak. And then eventually they accept it because they have, by embracing it is when they become fully who they were meant to be. And I feel like that's what human beings as in general, we are we're like, we're not even rejecting our destiny. We're oblivious to it. We're completely oblivious to our
Right.
destiny. Some people like yourself are not so much. Some people are more aware of it. But personally, I feel like it's, you know, I feel like it's. I don't know if it's on purpose or if it's just a byproduct of being human, so to speak, that we
Mhm.
reject that destiny, whatever that may be for us. Do
Well,
you think we'll ever
maybe
change that?
maybe we're meant to work through this. Maybe we're supposed to not believe, and then that makes us search more, right?
Yeah,
We want to
yeah,
know more information. It's not just given to us. And maybe that's part of whatever we're supposed to learn here. It is a journey and it's really, really hard. Some more for others, but everything that happens is a lesson. We just have to, my experience, if you don't pick up that lesson, things are going to keep happening. It's just going to keep cycling over and over. And I
yeah. I
think part of
wish.
that lesson is learning who we are spiritually.
Yeah. Well, Willard. So Willard Wright is really anxious about that question. Willard, I see you. Okay, calm down, my guy. Um, I guess we can kind of go into the astral projecting thing when we get back from the first break because we got 4 minutes before the first break. So hang tight, Willard. When we come back from the first break, we will address that very thing. There's a lot of people asking questions about orbs and other phenomena being connected. Do you do the Bigfoot phenomena, or is that something that you're not too into, or because
Okay,
I know?
go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm into it. It scares me. Cause look, I can call things to me, and the last thing I want is this huge hairy dude at my back door. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah,
interesting. I love it.
yeah. Well, if you don't hang out with Jessica Jones, she will serve you up on a burrito platter for Bigfoot. She told me that she said, "Oh yeah, when you're sleeping," she told me that if I went camping with her to go search for Bigfoot, when I'm in my sleeping bag, she would make sure that I get eaten first, like a burrito, like a Bigfoot burrito. So do not go camping with Jessica Jones,
Okay,
okay? Don't do it.
thank you.
But I will say I really think that it's. I mean, I think the Bigfoot phenomena is real. I just don't know what it
Yeah,
is. Is it interdimensional? Is it spiritual? Is it a psychic phenomena? Right? Is it something
right.
that is a projection of consciousness into yours, where this being is I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of questions that I have about Bigfoot, a lot, and I don't think there's any specific answer yet.
I know most of the people I've spoken to about it have witnessed Bigfoot have said they always saw bright lights hovering above Bigfoot.
Hmm.
So like little orbs or crafts. So I think it's connected to some type of alien being. Because listen, I thought there were only like two different types of aliens. There's plenty of
Yeah.
different types that don't look human at all. Some look like creatures that with no eyes. I mean, it's really interesting. So it might be part alien that can just go into our realm and out of it.
Yeah. A lot of people are asking for your website. You have a website, Lola?
LaLa Bright LLC.com.
I'm gonna try to put that in the chat here because it's being literally it's like they're spamming it. So that's great.
Well,
LaLa
thank,
Bright LC.com. Let me. Yep. Fantastic. I'm gonna put this in the chat so everybody, because everybody's asking for it. I'm gonna put it in the chat for them.
thank you.
And here we go. All right. Chat. There you go. All right, ladies
Thank
and
you.
gentlemen, we're gonna go on our first break, and when we come back, we're gonna get into that question about astral projection. It's a side of the phenomena that I am personally afraid of, but you know what? I'm gonna take a walk on the wild side tonight. I'm ready to embrace the fear, face the darkness. All right, so let's do this. Grab it by the horns and ride along, y'all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, hang tight. We'll be right back after the first break. Stay tuned. half of the hour. Want to welcome back everyone listening in on the digital side. We welcome back YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch viewers. And don't forget, you can check out our archives. They are free at youtube.com/space.radio. Our website is space.radio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. I'm your host tonight, Marquise, aka Dr. Dora, accompanied by the wonderful LaLa. We are talking about all them things, woo. I know you guys call it woo, but I feel like there's something special about this topic, especially for me, because I've got some experiences that I don't understand. And it's these topics that help me understand them versus the ones that I engage in all day long that drive me insane. So let's talk about the crazy stuff. Let's talk about astral projection. So Willard Wright has a ton. I mean, so Willard, this is out of respect. This is not disrespect. Willard has a lot of experiences, and they are very elaborate. They're very well documented. He documents a lot of his experiences. I'm pretty sure. I think he's writing a book. I can see why. He says he's asking for you to talk about uncontrollable astral projection. So, however you'd like to talk about that, if you could, please.
The first thing that comes to mind is that, and he's probably doing this, but to learn how to ground and protect better. It sounds like he's such a strong energy. Like his soul has ADD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's got, which is that's fine. That's
like
great. And so he's got to learn to kind of hone it in, because it can be detrimental after a while to your normal human life if you can't control it. I can talk to him after the show if he wants to, if he needs help or something like that. But
yeah.
a grounding would be number one, and protection, because if you can't control it, there's lots of things out there that like to attach, and then it's hard to get rid of, because you can't always tell. Just things start going downhill, but you don't know why. And so it's like it's dangerous, but it's not. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, I will say, Willard, I think that you should contact LaLa personally, because I'm telling you, man, I've had a personal experience with LaLa. I can't even begin to describe that experience. I don't want to make I know people hate when I do this, but I was taken aback that day. Really it didn't mess me up, but it really stopped me. It made me stop and think and reflect on my past, my father. I thought about him a lot that day, and a lot of other things too. And ironically, after that conversation is when, I don't think you realize this, immediately after that, I decided to take action on something. I forgot to tell you about this. And I feel like I did it autonomously, but I wonder if maybe I was pushed or directed to do them. And I've been wondering about this a lot, about the idea of something else that guides us through certain points of our life.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. We all have guides, protectors. And when we need them the most, they can't change events for us, unfortunately, but they step in, and you get this sense of, maybe I should really do this. I don't know why I feel this way. And that's them helping. They can't make us do it, but they can kind of push us to do it. And I think that's what happened. Can you talk about what, or if not, it's okay.
So let me just tell you, and this is why I was, it was the whole 7 day a week, my whole stream. And I didn't think about it until afterwards, but I just decided I was going to do that. And then, and I'm talking immediately after, and almost as if it was purposefully put out of my mind the next day, purposefully. And I just decided I'm going to do this thing, and I did. And it's been very successful. Obviously with struggles, you guys know, I almost had to give it up. But I didn't, and I pushed for it, and I'm putting everything I can into it. And there are so many different, benefits to having done that. Connections that I would have never had. People that I've met that I cannot believe I've met. People I've talked to, journalists I've talked to that I cannot believe I'm talking to them. They're talking to me. And again, it all happened in that right afterwards. And I didn't think about it until afterwards. And after a couple weeks, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if this is because something at that point, maybe because I engaged it for the first time, maybe because I opened myself up to you having, to communication. All of a sudden there's this desire. This desire was in me. And I think that, I don't know, of course, I'm just kind of bringing that idea up to you. But I wonder if it was meant, if it was a nudge, if I was directed to do that.
Well, absolutely. And plus, they are supposed to help you on your path that you're here for this lifetime. And that's what you're doing. This is part of your path that's leading you to what you're really meant to do. And it's easier. It helps you if you do go along with what they're doing. And listen, when you go along with it and they realize, oh, okay, he paid attention. This is working, whatever we're doing. They'll keep doing it for certain things. So always ask for help. And in their own way, they will nudge you to do it. It might take time, but.
Well, I'm going to keep pushing, because honestly, when I think about what I want to do, it's not like I want to do it because of a selfish reason. Oh, I mean, right. I guess everything we do is selfish technically, right? But I want to do it because I believe in it. I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in why I'm doing it. I believe in, I don't know, like I feel like I have to do this. Like if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Even though there's plenty of people out there doing it, I still have that feeling like nobody else is going to do this. I have to do it. And I've been told by people, hey man, you're doing a lot. You're putting in a lot of effort. You're putting in a lot of energy, and it doesn't. And again, right now in moments, it doesn't look fruitful. It's always afterwards. It's always after, when I'm like, man, I wonder if this is even working. And then boom, holy crap, this person messaged me on, here.
Right.
No way. Who are the? That's when it happens. It's after the fact. It's just believing, having faith, putting yourself out there, doing the thing, and then trusting the process, whatever that means, whatever that even means. Because I'm not doing anything but just following that feeling of necessity,
Yep. That's good. That more people need to learn to just listen to themselves, because they're listening to their guides, and it'll be more helpful. Because I for many years I didn't listen, and I got kicked in the butt many times, and I'm like, well, I wonder why it keeps happening like this, because I wasn't listening, And once I did, things got better.
Yeah, you know what one of my biggest fears is? This is so funny. Accomplishing the thing that I'm trying to accomplish and not being good enough to maintain it.
Right? Yes.
It's like, oh crap, I'm here. I have no idea what I'm doing.
What do I do?
Right? Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, that's one of my biggest fears. I feel like sometimes people don't do something because they feel unqualified to do that thing.
Right.
And what if they make it, right? What if somebody told me once, people are more afraid of succeeding than they are of failing, because if they succeed, now they have to live up to that. Right. That thing that people, that you have put into people's mind about you got to live up to that now.
Right.
And like a parent, hey, you don't have a choice. You got to do that thing. By the way, I got to give a special shout out to Peanut. Rad Peanut. Hi, how are you doing, Rad Peanut? Rad Peanut is awesome. One of my supporters all over the net. Thank you so much for being here, Rad Peanut. But yeah, I've definitely felt like success is a fear, because I'm honestly just a dude. And yesterday I had this feeling where I made a mistake. I made a big mistake, in my opinion. And I reflected on that mistake and I thought, oh my gosh, I have to change my whole personality. And my whole if I wouldn't have had the moment to stop and see that mistake I made, I would have kept going making that mistake. And I would never have stopped to change something that is essential to my development.
Well, that's amazing. You know how many people don't do that? And they're even aware that they are doing something wrong. So that's a big thing, what you did.
I appreciate that. I wish that I could do it like this, though. Like that right there. Like, I don't want to have to do it like this 1,000 times later. No, like that. Yeah, I've got to work on. My biggest thing is my language. Sometimes I speak flippantly. Um, I'm a researcher, not a journalist. People say, "Oh, you're a journal." No, I am a researcher and commentator. I am
Mhm.
not a journalist, although you can call me that if you want to. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to
And
stop.
doctor too.
I'm also you can call me doctor, you know.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Thank you for that. So yeah, I feel like we are just people. How do you feel about yourself? Like, do you feel, because I know you mentioned this once before in private, but just for the sake of having this, for the record, how do you feel about yourself when it comes to what you can do? When I look at you and I see how you are, I think of somebody that has all these abilities, these real abilities,
Thank you.
and it's like, I don't know, I feel like they're underappreciated by the world. Like, this should be a big deal. There's a lot of people out there talking about
Thank
fake
you.
science and fake this and fake that, and we have somebody who's real. I've witnessed it, and I feel like it should be more prevalent. Like, you should be really out there.
Thank you. I think a big reason it's not is because there's this part of me that is so hard on myself. And I know I do a good job, and I know I do a lot more than, not to be mean, but I do see a lot more than I've gotten readings before, and they weren't spectacular. So I do try to do my best and give really detailed information. But when I get in public situations, I down talk myself. I make it seem like it's not that impressive or important, but I do that even about my art. I do it about everything.
Your
So I
art is
think one.
amazing.
Thank
Oh
you.
my, yeah, that's why ironically I called that Rad Peanut. She's also an artist, but your art, oh
Cool.
my gosh, you can do it on people's faces, which I've been following that a lot because Bob posts that stuff.
Mhm.
I honestly, I wish I could draw like I used to when I was a kid. I was a pretty good
Mhm.
artist. I gave it up because life, but my
Right.
gosh, your art is fantastic.
Thank
It's
you.
beautiful. Yeah.
I appreciate it. I just have to get out of the habit of saying, well, it's not good enough. I have to do better. Because that's not helping anybody. It's not helping me. I mean, and I think with age and getting more used, because I wasn't in the public. It's only been a year I've been in the public with this, and it kind of all was real quick. And I think with age and time, I'll get better,
Oh, for sure. I
so.
mean, yeah, you're again, you're young, so like there's a lot of things that are there's a lot of life left to live, as they say. And
I'm
honestly, when
only
I see it,
21. I mean,
right? Hey, listen, we could tell. Come on now. Come on now. I'm about the size of a 14-year-old, so I guess yeah, I mean, seriously, I'm like the shortest dude in the world. The people have asked me how tall I'm never gonna tell. You guys can keep guessing all you want to. You're never gonna find out. Now, when you see me in one of those get-togethers on Spaced Out Radio, when we go do those yearly get-togethers, when we meet the audience, one of these times I'm gonna be there, and you're gonna see me next to anybody, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, he really is that short." You can't tell from my Facebook photos. I'm a pretty short dude. But
That's
yeah,
fine.
there's a lot to learn. I feel like, you know, I feel like fear stops us from doing so many different things. The
Yeah.
world right now is in a state of fear, and I mean the world is on fire.
Yeah.
It was at Hawaii. Now there's
Literally.
this
Yeah.
literally, literally, it's on fire. Um, did you see? Have you followed that situation in Maui?
I have a little bit. The people were jumping in the water to save their lives. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
sad. And the hurricane came, and
yeah. On top of that, yeah, the freaking
yeah.
hurricane. Oh my gosh, it was really sad. The aftermath was terrible. I think I have a picture of it here. And I want to say this: if everybody can put your hearts out to these people, it is really sad, man. And there was a helicopter view of it before and after, and oh my goodness, um, I don't know what happened. I cannot believe it. Let me pull up just real quick, because again, I want people to see, and I want them to, if they can, again, put your hearts out to people in Maui. I think that's how you say it. 53 people have lost their lives in this fire. So this is some of the aftermath. I'm going to pull this up here of that fire, and here, this is some of the
Oh,
aftermath.
God.
It was a wildfire. Like it just a wildfire. These are this is terrible. I can't believe it. They called it apocalyptic. And I know that sounds very, I don't want to, what I'm saying is that these people, they went through a lot. They've been through quite a bit. And I think that we need to put our hearts out to those people, put that energy out there, everyone, because they need that. They need that right now.
I don't even know how they're going to start over.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, what is it? 11,000. Let me see if I can pull that figure up. It was 11,000 people are without power. It's one of the most devastating wildfires in Hawaii's history, and they have volcanoes ravaged that place. So, like, can you imagine something being worse than a volcanic eruption? 70% of the let me see here, 80% contained. Yeah, the wildfire is almost fully contained right now, but it's not fully contained. There's a lot of, it's just the damage is just devastating to these people. Devastating. My gosh. So please, hearts go out. So as the world is experiencing all of these different things, do you feel like there's like a grand change, a shift, something that's happening right now for all humanity everywhere, all over the world?
I do. I try not to think about it because it's scary. I'm a mom and it scares me a lot, but too much is happening for it to be nothing. Usually it's always somewhere else far away that these things happen, but it's been happening close to home. Floods everywhere.
Right. Tornado watch in Pennsylvania, where the mountains are. By the way, I live in a freaking valley, ladies and gentlemen. The fact that there was a tornado warning in the valley where there's mountains is really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah, we live near Pennsylvania and Delaware. We're in Maryland, but we're at that line. And the trees were like bending in half a couple days ago out of the blue and this huge storm. It's just so strange. And Bob says it's climate change. I don't know. I just know that things are going to happen more often, and it's scary. There's nothing we can really do except prepare with food and shelter and extra money if we can,
Yeah. I'm hoping that there will be some kind of a support from the government, because they are the ones, obviously, who should be helping people in this world. But
that's, that doesn't, my opinion, it's hard. That usually doesn't happen. If it does, it's kind of like a trickle down effect. It's not really enough to help. It's enough so you don't die.
It's enough so you don't die. Dang.
Well, in Maryland,
not die. Good luck, everyone.
That's how Maryland government is. I don't know.
Gosh.
I'm just being honest. Just kidding. Sorry, government.
Oh my gosh. That is so great. That's great. Okay, so sorry. Anyway, so now that I think there's a shift too. I really do believe there's some kind of a shift. I believe that there's going to be, honestly believe that there's, I don't know if it's going to be for the better or for the worse. I'm hoping that we can that people can come together. We can recognize that we got to figure this out. Human beings have to figure this out, because without doing so, by the way, welcome everybody coming to the chat. Everyone new. I see y'all saying hi. What's up? But yeah, I believe in that if we do not come together, we're going to be facing much more devastating situations. And, people are, if we're in chaos, if we're in a state of chaos and division, we're not going to be able to survive whatever is happening out there.
Right. Well, I think that these aliens or energy beings, whatever you want to call them, I think most of them are here to help us. But for some reason, I really do. Okay. Because they're sticking around, they're not harming us, and they want to communicate. That tells me they're here they know more than we do. And I think they're trying to slowly get certain people and then everybody to notice them and know that these particular ones are safe so that they can help us, because they have more power than we do, and they could help us. I know that sounds hippie-ish, but I mean, that's what I think they're here for. Some of them.
I hope it's some of them. Yeah, some of them. I think that I think that when I think about the beings, and
Mhm.
I think about them from a historical. I'm thinking thousands of years they've been here, right?
Long time.
And I think that they've been working on us in many different ways for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just like show up in like a couple years. No kidding. Like, they just like land on the White House lawn and they're like, "Hey, yeah, it's been us this whole time, y'all." And
they have capes and they're standing like this.
they got S's on their chest and like they're kind of human, when you think about it. Like,
Sorry.
First alien's name is Clark Kent, and it would be really crazy. But what do you? I think that people would probably, as they say, there would be a panic because we're not ready for it.
Right.
And yeah.
I do think there'd be a panic, but you know what? People are not reacting at all the way I thought they were going to about this information.
Right.
They're like,
right.
yeah, there's aliens. Okay, I'm trying to watch something here. It's weird. So maybe they'd be okay. I don't know.
I said the same thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got your questions. If you have questions, put them in all caps. I got a couple questions for after we come back from the break for you, LaLa. But yeah, I thought the same. So listen, I was like, this is it. The world is gonna change. Disclosure is coming. It's not here yet. We still got, this confirmation. We all have heard about the deals with the aliens, and we've all heard about the crash retrieval. We've all heard, but the public hasn't been acclimated to that kind of information,
right?
And so they're thinking to themselves like, okay, yeah, I kind of heard this before. Like I've seen some cooler things in a movie. I think that they should just rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
As has been said. Just look at how they're reacting. They're not gonna. Okay, we have aliens. Some of them want to eat us. Some of them want to help us. Okay, all right. Well, what about Sunday Night Football? We still gonna have that? Yep. Okay. I think it's gonna be just business as usual for every human being on Earth. I don't see a panic. Catholic Church. Okay, there's aliens. Some of them are Jesus or whatever. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying that they're probably gonna be okay with it and like go with it. They're just gonna roll with it.
Right. Absolutely. I think they should do it. Why not? I mean, if we're running out of time and they're trying to do this slow, they might want to hurry up and just,
The world is on fire. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth before it's too late. Ladies and gentlemen, we got 2 minutes before we go on our next break. But yeah, I feel like they have to tell us soon because the world is literally on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Scientists say that within the next couple of years we're going to be experiencing these solar storms that are going to be so devastating they're globally affecting the world. They'll affect all of us. Recently, and I don't know if this is connected yet. There's no evidence of it being connected to that, but a satellite crashed in China. Well, they said that there will be in the next couple years. You watch your homes because apparently satellites might crash into them. I was like, one of my worst fears of all time. Like, what if a satellite falls out of the sky? Of all the things to actually happen in real life, you can be walking down the street, freaking dodging satellites all the time. How is this? So there's a lot to be concerned about, but I do feel like there will be. I honestly believe, and this is just my personal opinion, there will be an encounter. I think that they're going to show themselves. John Ramirez says they might show up in 2027. And
a lot of people are saying that date. Yeah,
2027. I'm not too fond of like very specific dates,
deadlines,
but I do think that there's just so many things accelerating.
Mm-hmm.
It just, if anybody has lived life, I'm 35 and I haven't lived, a lot of life, but enough to know this is different. There's something different happening right now. And I'm not talking about like, it's everywhere, every single where. So we better wake up, people. We better wake up before it's too late.
I'm buying a big floaty on Amazon just in case something happens. A big float,
I'm gonna need one too. Trust me. I'm gonna need a couple of them actually. About 12 floaties.
Cup holder, yeah.
a couple. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go. We'll be right back after the break. We're gonna go on our last break. Not last break. The last break of the hour. If you have questions when we come back, please don't put them in yet. When we come back, ask your questions in all caps. I've got a couple already for LaLa. Continue to ask your questions, and I will pull them up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. the show tonight. I'm your host, Marquise, aka Dr. Door, accompanied by LaLa Bright the Wonderful. I want to welcome everyone back listening in on the digital side. We welcome back YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch viewers. And don't forget, you can check out our archives. They are free at youtube.com/space.radio. Our website is space.radio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. Let's talk about some aliens, y'all. I got some questions for you, LaLa, and I think they're pretty interesting. So let's start with this one. Somebody, Julie Farrell, asks do you use regular cameras and light, not IR, in your videos?
Yeah, we used to use IR in our videos, but it would pick up everything. And it was so hard to go through. So we don't do that anymore. And we actually get more crafts now because of it. And Bob can probably put what cameras and video. We got the cameras off, or the video things off Amazon for $40. So anybody can get it. And his camera is fancy, so he would know the name of it. But you can use, look, I use my cell phones, the flash sometimes. You can use anything, really.
So you can use cell phone cameras to do this? Just regular?
We've gotten orbs. I've never gotten a craft off of it, but we've gotten orbs off. Just put your flash on, and it's you got to go through the other stuff. But the orbs, they kind of have movement in the center, so you'll know the difference. And they're different colors. We get orange orbs. We've gotten some people get blue. A lot, actually. That's really popular in our orb group that we have. I haven't gotten it yet, but they're really beautiful.
So there's a good question that somebody asks, and I want to actually, Julie is asking another question here, and I think it's relevant. This is really interesting. What was your most memorable and transformative psychic experience?
For me personally, it was, well, two things, I guess. One, when as you know, a couple of years ago, my parents and boyfriend passed away. And when I was at the funeral home to see my dad, it was just me in there. And all of a sudden, I'm talking to him, saying what I have to say, because we were best friends. And all of a sudden, the lights, and there were a lot of lights on the ceiling, they all started to flicker. And right over his body, the brightest little light appeared. It was bright as the sun. I'd never seen it before like that. And then it shot into his nose. So that was his way of saying, this is who we are. We are energy. I'm still alive. And that changed everything for me, I'm very thankful that he did that. And so I tell my son, Daddy's still alive. He's just different. And that's what I tell other people, because it's hard for a lot of people to understand that, because we don't see them anymore, but they're still here. They're just a little different,
That's interesting. So their consciousness is essentially still here. They just don't. They themselves, that physical experience that we have with them isn't there anymore.
Right. And it's this bright light that aliens use and spirits use and other beings use. They harness this energy to create this light to communicate. It's really neat.
Thank you for that. I have another question for you by Peanut. It's actually Rad Peanut, but I call her Peanut because she's awesome. Peanut says, do you believe all sightings have meaning, or are some random? Thank you.
Do I believe all sightings have meaning? I do think they have meaning because they know how to hide. And if they're showing themselves to one person or a group, there's a reason. They want to be seen. Now some people can see them. I think some people can see them and they don't want to be seen, but that's very rare. I think there's always a reason. I don't always know what that reason is, but they're very particular about what they do, where they do it, who they do it with. So yeah, I think it's very meaningful.
Thank you for that again. Peanut, thank you for your question, Peanut. All right, so the next question we have is, I'm not going to ask that yet. I'll ask it. Draculticon. I will answer the question later. It's a great question. I'll answer it later. The next question I have is from accept to reject the narrative. Now, I wouldn't normally bring this up because again, it's not in all caps, but this is a good question, and I have to ask this question. When you meditate, they will come down to close to you, but I feel it depends on your level of integration at the time. I'm going to try to translate this as best as I can because I know that it's not. I wouldn't normally pull this up, but I think it's important. Do these orbs and beings or whatever, do they contact you through physical touch or an experience that's overwhelmingly obvious that they're trying to get your attention in some way? And is your state of mind related to that kind of experience of them initiating contact with you? Like, are you more receptive at certain times than others for those experiences to happen?
Okay, so yes and no. When I go sit outside and my intentions are for them, they will be more detailed or come closer, or give me messages of images. But I've also had a lot of times I'm not paying attention and they just show up. So I do believe if you do meditate, yes, things will come around because it's all about intention and what your heart is saying. And because look, you can say something and your heart not mean it, and they'll know. They will absolutely know. They can read our minds and our feelings. They're very smart.
Yeah, I can imagine. Personally, I think that they are. I think in terms of intelligence, we think of it as like we quantify intelligence. In this world, we say IQ level or whatever, but these things are like they have access to knowledge itself,
Right?
Like, the knowledge base of all of existence in this reality. They have access to it, so it's different than for them than it is to us.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. Next question is from Donna Spencer. Hi, Donna. LaLa, have you encountered things not of this world touching you to let you know they are there? I guess
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That always kind of freaks me out. A lot of times they'll like go like this. If you ever feel a tickle, and it's maybe a little more than a tickle, that's them. That's some being saying, "Hey, I'm here." And when you lose someone that you care about, a lot of times after, people will feel that tickle. Sometimes they don't realize it because of grief, but their loved ones are always around them, and their energy feels like tickles. It's really neat. I've had one push my arm, kind of move my arm. That was a little scary because I didn't realize they had that much power over me, but they can do anything they want, really,
Yeah. So I wouldn't want that to happen to me. I would freak out. Again, I think you mentioned earlier that if you're scared, they tend to back off.
The good ones do.
The good ones do. The good ones do. Probably the exact opposite for the other ones.
Right.
I wonder. I have a question that I've been wondering, just kind of in the grapevine here in my own mind. Do we create entities? Like, for example, are there do they exist autonomous from our consciousness, or does our consciousness create them?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that my dad would always tell me, be careful what you say and think, because you create the world around you. And I never paid attention, but it's true. If you are a very negative person, you will create a negative energy, and it will form into like a poltergeist activity. That happens a lot, especially with like angry hormonal teens. There's a lot of poltergeist activity, but so I think yes and no. It all depends, but we are very powerful. We aren't told how powerful we are. We can create anything. Once we take that veil off, we really can do a lot.
I believe I've been trying, especially this last maybe half a year. I've been taking that seriously. The whole idea of You know, people call it manifestation, whatever. I think it's real. I think that when we say something, when we think it, we put energy behind it, it does manifest itself. Why does
Mhm.
the government have, I think the DOD, is it the DOD or the Pentagon? They have like your thoughts are what you make it. The DOD, because Sean Kirkpatrick sent an email or a communication in response to somebody's question where he says at the bottom of the email is this Latin, I believe it's like Latin wording that says something to the effect of your thoughts are what they make up, or you know, something to that effect. So like your thoughts are what they make up, or the world is what you think it, or I can't remember the exact, you know, saying, but it's on the arrows saying, it's on arrows
Mhm.
saying, which I think is strange and fascinating.
Oh yeah,
So
they know. They definitely know. I mean, every night I say I'm going to be a thin supermodel millionaire. I mean, one day that'll happen.
oh man,
Just wanna-
millionaire, you want, all you got to do is start a Twitch channel, you'll be a supermodel millionaire by tomorrow. I guarantee it. Okay, get a hot tub, get in that Twitch channel, play some video game.
Right? Yeah,
I'm telling you, that's all it takes nowadays. I
it's
like I've
true.
been trying really hard. I spend 7 days a week on Twitch, right? And I'm trying to like
Mhm.
talking and I'm doing the research and I'm putting my whole energy in there, okay? And then I go on Twitch and the biggest channels all day long are some chick in a hot tub. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're playing videos or not, but like that's all they got to do. So I'm telling you, anybody want to get rich, just buy a hot tub, do Twitch channels. That's all you got to do. I'm gonna get one. That's it. I'm gonna
Go
get
on
one. I'm gonna get
Amazon.
one.
Yeah.
No, it's I do think that there's a lot of effort that goes in, you know, behind the
Yeah.
intention, but in some way you will manifest. You will manifest
Yeah.
that thought in some way. You will. So
Especially if it's for if it's what's supposed to happen, what's best for you. So if you think about something, you might not get exactly the way you want it, but it'll be what you need it to be. So
Bob, just give me 1 second because he wants to share something. I don't know, but LaLa, can you share Can you share anything or?
oh god, Bob, can you come in here and do it?
Yeah, because
Oh,
I don't know if you can or not.
oh, he said next hour he'll do it.
Okay, excellent. We'll get there. No problem. I just wanted to make sure that I said that out loud because again, I have to see from your end, and I can't tell from your end. You should be able to, but if not, I can share it.
I
To
think
Facebook.
we can. I just have no clue how to work this thing. So
Don't you worry. We'll get this figured out. All right. So let me see here. The next question is by Black Dragon. Does LaLa work with higher frequencies?
like energy beings, yeah.
Yeah.
There's different types of beings that come around. Some I had no clue about actually, and this is something I'm hard on myself about too. I see them, I get excited, I have proof, I show it, and I don't know what to do next. I don't. I know I'm supposed to be communicating more, but what am I'm supposed to be helping with something? So what am I supposed to be doing? But yeah, they do come around. One thing I've noticed when I start taking them for granted, look, they used to light up my neighbor's roof all the time. And I took it for granted to the point where I'm like, all right, whatever. I literally would say this. And they stopped for months. And then I missed it. And I was like, I'm sorry. And so I've learned to be more appreciative, and they started doing it again. So it's very interesting.
Peanut, you are a wonderful soul. Peanut is a wonderful soul. Everybody loves you. LaLa. I just want to say that right now.
Thank you.
All right. So the next question is by Decipher. Do you think you can be entangled with an entity that you and the entity are now meshed together?
That's a good question. I think you can. I'm not sure how safe that is for us as humans because we have to balance ourselves. To a point, I do. I know a lot of people have very physical relationships with other beings and other energies. but it's taken over their lives to the point where it's ruined their human life. So you have to be careful.
Hence, it's like the poltergeist type effect or beings or whatever they are.
Yeah,
They do affect people,
very
with that.
much.
I have so there was something else. Oh my gosh, I had so many questions for you. I don't want to overload you with questions. I'm so sorry. If you
No,
feel like I'm overwhelming you with these questions, I do
I
apologize.
love it. I hope I'm doing a
Okay.
good job. I'm
No, you're
not
doing
great with
fantastic.
words.
No, this is what I think is so. You're doing a 2-hour show with me, and you don't even like to do. You're not really comfortable with the social aspect of this stuff,
Yeah,
but you do it. You do it, and I that takes a
it's
lot.
fun. Oh,
Well,
thank you.
listen, y'all. I can talk. Y'all know I can talk. I can talk all day long. I could do this for 12 hours a day, every day, just because I like to do it. I can. Um, Not everybody's like that. And as a matter of fact, it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot out of you. And if you're not if you don't like for you, you're always exposed to energies and you're sensitive. You have, what do you call it? I guess maybe I should say, what do you call it? You're like
Weirdo.
an exposed nerve. No,
That's
no. You're like no. I'm a weirdo. I believe that would be. You're like an exposed nerve. Like it's spiritually and psychically, you're like an
Mhm.
exposed nerve. You're sensing all these different things at any given time. To
Right.
do this, it's like you're diverting your attention from all of those things that are on literally, at the tip of the nerves, while simultaneously thinking about the responses that I'm having. I think that's a really difficult thing to do. I have a hard
Thank
time
you.
with that. I have a hard time with that myself. So for you doing it, I think it's commendable, and I
Thank
respect it.
you. I appreciate
Um,
that. It
yeah,
is, it's easier for me to speak to the dead or other beings because all I have to do is speak with my heart and intentions or images, right? And
yeah, yeah.
with people, I have to decode those images and then find the words, and it's very hard it's always been really hard for me.
You know what? You know what? Another fear. I had to mention about my fear of success. This psychic abilities, right? The or whatever you want to call them. I don't necessarily call them psychic abilities. I think of just like people have the ability to do things, remote viewing, astral projection, lucid dreaming, which I used to do all the time,
Mhm.
and other psychic phenomena. I wonder, like, doing those things does open you up to positive and to negative.
Right.
And I understand that you can do cleansing and you can do protective measures and so forth, but depending on how good you become, depending on how developed your abilities become, my question is, do you think that you open yourself up to more of the phenomena in both respects? So let's say that you're like David Blaining your way into this psychic phenomena, right? Like
Hmm.
you're freaking levitating, and are you gonna like encounter demons that you have to build a psychic sword with and fight them off in your backyard? Like how relative is the experience of becoming more psychic or having greater abilities to the negative and the positive?
So, yes, you do come across the more psychic you get, or more in touch with all that other world, right? The
Yeah,
hidden world.
yeah,
The bigger the things that come, whether they're good or bad, they see your light, and they're intrigued and they want to know what it is. And a lot of them like to take that light from you or siphon it, kind of, right?
yeah.
So you do need. This is something my dad taught me, and it's really all about visualization, right? Imagine a mirror wall going all around your body,
Hmm.
and it's reflecting away. So and always surround yourself with a light. So if you just, for a long time I was like, whatever, dad, that's bull crap, right? It's not. Just imagine protection around you, and it really does help you. But yeah, the more you're in touch, the more you get bombarded with good and bad.
Android Paranormal, can you please repost your question? I apologize. I missed the question. Put it in all caps. I am so sorry. I did not see it. Uh, so yeah, I would appreciate that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about that. Everybody, if you have a question and I have missed it or skipped over it or anything like that, please repost it in all caps, like this. Okay, like this. I know some people are asking questions that are in small form. I don't know if they're for her or if they're just random questions. And also, I'm not perfect, y'all. Come on now. I don't have the kind of abilities that you're expecting from me. I'm not a psychic. But anyway, we got to go to break in 5 minutes. So I want to ask not a big question, but I think one that I think is relevant. Wait, let me give Android Paranormal's question. Can you have an attachment without realizing it? If so, how do you tell?
Oh my God, yeah. They're so sneaky. How you tell is if you start not feeling well a lot, if you're tired, no, go to the doctor and get that out the way, right?
Yeah.
But if you start not feeling good, or people around you, or just things start falling apart, I'm telling you, there's an attachment because they're sneaky and they do it slowly so that you don't see. And now they're usually pretty easy to get rid of. It's very rare for it to be hardcore, demonic or a strong negative energy. Usually they're very weak and just want to siphon off of us, but it's very real. And a lot of people have it and do not know. It's scary.
Yeah, I'm talking to somebody who's been trying to get me to. I get the impression he wants me to open up about, I think, remote viewing and things like that. And I'm a little afraid because I hear about this. I'm the kind of person. I'm going to go to the moon, y'all. I'm going to the moon. I want to know, but like, I don't know what that's gonna bring back because that people have been warned off the moon, and so we know about the stories about the government paying for the remote viewers to remote view the moon, and
Right.
they were scared off of it. So I think I'm going to stay away from that. But if I had that ability, that's exactly what I'm going to do. That's literally exactly what I'm going to do. What
You
if
could do baby steps,
Nah, I'm gonna freaking jump in my psychic spaceship and I'm going to the freaking moon, man. I'm gonna find out what's on there. I want to know. I'm going to Mars, the moon. I'm going to Elon Musk's house to see what he really got going on. Where the documents at, Musk? I know you got them.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I seriously do want to know. I'm too curious about these things. I would probably misuse it. So I should say. So what do you do if doctor says you're all good? Sage, meditation, combo of both, or other?
Do it all. Do whatever makes you feel comfortable. I always sage. That's the first thing I do. Or the paleo sticks. I hate, as a psychic, I should be really into meditation. I'm not. My ADD doesn't, it just won't let me. But yeah, if meditation makes you feel better, do it. But go to a new age store, ask the person that works there things that you can get that will help you in your home to protect you. They have them. Or you could or contact someone who knows and go online and find a reputable place and buy them, because these things really do help protect you. I know it sounds like mumbo jumbo, but they've been working for a long, long time.
Yeah, I know personally. I can tell you. Well, the house that I'm in now has been protected, and I haven't had one experience here at all. Nothing. No paranormal. No, alien. Nothing. Although I still have some sleepless nights out of the fear of seeing them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see them in my mind, but there's nothing
Right.
there. Like sometimes I get this impression, like, oh my gosh, one of the tall grays. Literally, I can just imagine them right behind the curtain, kind of feeling, but there's
From
nothing
fear.
there.
Right.
Yeah, and I want to face them, so I go out. I'll get up and I'll go face them, because I'm not gonna let what happened to me before happen without at least trying to push back a little bit.
Right. And always ask for protection. You don't have to know who your guides are. Just say, whoever my loving guides and protectors are, I need you to come and help me with this situation.
Is it important to vocalize? Like, is it important to say it, or just think it, or feel it, or all of the above?
You can say it or you can think it, but be very careful of how you say it. And that's one thing I've learned. And always say whatever energy with my highest good. Okay. So You can go on Google and look up different things to say, but just be careful what you call to you, you know. Sorry,
Thank
that's
you
the
for
mom in me. I don't mean to
no,
be like
no.
that, but
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we are at that time. We're gonna take our last break with LaLa, and then we'll ask some more questions because the people have a lot of questions for you. Actually, I'm
no.
trying to save all of them. When we come back, we'll ask some more questions to finish off with LaLa, and it's been a pleasure. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back after the break. Our final 30 minutes with LaLa. I welcome everyone back listening in on the digital side. Welcome back our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch viewers. And don't forget, you can check out our archives. They are free at youtube.com/space.radio. Our website is space.radio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot. And a great way to show support, by the way, is by smashing that like button and abducting the subscribe to the Space.Radio YouTube channel. Now, questions, because there was probably too many to catch up with by this time. If you have questions, oh my gosh. If you have questions, really, President Zaddy, yo, calm down, man. Calm down. Oh my gosh, something's wrong with people. I love people, seriously. Even the funny people. So, all right. So let's talk about some questions that people have. So, the Peanut has a question. Does knocking mean anything specific? I've had spirits communicate by knocking 2 times.
Yeah, I've not experienced that, but I've heard usually it's 2 or 3 times, or if you knock, they'll knock back. It's just a form of communication and validation that they're there. I mean, there's always scary stuff to it, like don't knock at midnight or 3 a.m. 3 times on the wall, or that something will come. But yeah, they do it. They do lots of things to let you know that they're there.
And it's not usually so timing. Man, I feel like you should write a book about this, because it's like I just feel like it's not as simple as, either you need to speak to somebody who knows or maybe read a book. But I'm personally afraid to just read a book and engage with this stuff, because I feel like I'd miss something.
Right.
Like there'd be some kind of small nuance that I would miss.
But you really need to know, and it'll happen. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, I love to say Peanut, because Peanut sounds more like, I feel like Peanut is like a niece or a sister. Peanut is, I'm an old man now, so Peanut is like a niece or a little sister now. So that's why I say Peanut. Anyway, Donna Spencer says, LaLa, have Bigfoots come around and seem more like old friends instead of entities?
Okay,
That's the question, right?
That's a great question. If I weren't terrified of them, I'm sure they would have come around. Now being around more people that are into Bigfoot, and because before all I had was TV and movies tell me how scary and bad they are, right?
Right.
But now listening to everyone that's very knowledgeable about it and has had experiences, I am getting more interested in wanting to have them come around sometime, actually. I'm working up to that, because they're, like Bigfoot and werewolves. I don't know. I'll try Bigfoot first, I think.
You know what's crazy? I want to tell you something. I'm going to say this because now, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like I have to say. So when I was younger, I woke up in the morning and I told my dad I had this fur on my arm, and I don't know where it came from. I was like, oh my gosh, like what is this fur? It was a patch of fur on my arm. And I went to my dad and I was like, Dad, there's this weird fur on my arm. It's actually fur, I don't know. He's like, what is this? And he takes a wet rag and he starts rubbing it, and it doesn't go in. It just stays there. It's like stuck on my arm. It's like a patch of fur.
Wow.
And he's like, I was like, am I a werewolf? And he's like, hey, boy, you ain't no werewolf. And he's rubbing it, and then eventually it just like deteriorates, like falls off. And we to this day have no idea what happened, right? So that last week, this is so weird. I was watching a random documentary from like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the most random thing I've ever seen about abductions.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people on there said they woke up in the morning with a bunch of fur all over their body after an abduction experience. And this is one of those things that makes me think that I've had it many more times than I recall.
Right.
But I have no memory, none, but except for those kind of strange, experiences.
That is interesting. I'm going to look that up. I have never heard of that before.
I'm going to send you that documentary because I reviewed it several times because of how bizarre that document. Now, let me just warn you, it is also very disturbing. There is very disturbing imagery in that video. And I'll tell you maybe off air. I'll send you the specifics. It's just the abduction experience, so you can imagine what they try to convey to people about it, and it is not PG-13 at all. But that fur thing really just stopped me in my tracks. Like, oh my gosh, another experience that somebody out there has had. To me, it's a confirmation. It's like, I had that happen to me, and now I'm finding out 20, 30 years later, yes, I'm that old, that it's happened to somebody else, somebody else now. So it's so weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to take away from everybody else's.
No, I'm glad you told us. That is very interesting.
It's so strange. Okay, so
I wonder if it's only men that could you imagine women waking up with like a patch of hair on their chest? Like,
oh no, oh, they're gonna they'll develop a complex because of it, right? It's like, oh my gosh. Okay, so another question is from Lex Diaz. Lex Diaz asks, are aliens good for us or not? Are they helpful to us or not?
Okay, that's a good question. And I always say they are like humans. Some are good, some are not good. I think we are much more connected to them than we realize. I think a lot of us are hybrids.
Interesting.
I think a lot of the aliens are actually family. I think some have bad intentions and they test on us, or a lot of people think they do other things to us, but it's a mixed bag. It really is. It all depends if what your DNA is and what you attract. I mean, look, some people attract certain things ourselves. I mean, I have an implant. I don't know why. I've been followed my whole life. I have no clue. I feel like I'm part of them somehow. So
I have a question. Do you think that they what if this is a far out there? What if everything that's happening in relation to our contact with them is essentially a trick, right? To keep us in some way docile enough that they can continue to do experiments on us, right? They created us, they need us. They maybe they need our genetic material. Maybe they need something that our soul provides that maybe they don't have. I've heard this theory before, that maybe they're doing all of these things just to keep us connected to them because they need that. Not good or bad. They just need that. What do you think about that theory?
I would be so mad. They better watch out when I pass over. I'm going to kick somebody's ass.
All this time you've been using my energy. Right? You know how many people I broke up with because of this crap? This is just wrong. I mean, so that's just a wild theory. So the next question.
Well, real quick, I've heard people say now lately, don't go to the light. It's a trap. And that we're trapped in this cycle of coming here.
Yeah. What do you do then? What if you don't go to it? Then
I'd be like, all right, somebody talk to me. What am I supposed to be doing here? Just
like, can you just give me some instructions? I mean, yeah. So it is interesting because I do wonder, like, I've heard that before too. Don't go to the light because you'll just come back here again and you won't transcend to the next level or whatever. I keep referencing this, but there's a quote. I gotta look this up because I keep misquoting it probably. Something to the effect of like, if you're during your meditation, you see Buddha himself, cut him down, right? That's part of like a Buddhist writings. And one of those teachings, that's what he says, because it's not about meeting Buddha, the deity, or anything like that. It's not about that. You're not supposed to godify, if you will, or deitize anybody. You're supposed to search for truth and enlightenment or whatever the source is. It's not anything that you can imagine. It's beyond imagination.
Yeah.
And so if you come across, say in an acid trip or whatever, these troll beings, you're not supposed to engage them because they're just tricking you. Essentially, this is what I've been told. This is what I've heard. they're tricking you, and that's the illusion. The illusion is them. You're supposed to go past that illusion.
That makes sense. It's isn't that scary? We have enough crap to deal with,
I know.
and now we have to worry about all this.
It's such a cluster. You know what?
This is why I live under a rock. I just don't want to deal with it.
I need a rock too to live under. So, another question by Joseph Yanni is: have you had a positive attachment where the worst comes out in others around you? So, have you been attacked because of the positive energy that you or contact you've had?
Yeah, I mean, yes. I have for most of my life. I attract like narcissistic people and people that want to drain me, and it's weird. It's like their energy knows my energy and they just want some of it. But this happens to many people. Like really sweet, kind people. They have a bright light, right? And so they do attract a lot of negative people, and they don't know why. We don't know why. It just happens. They're drawn to us.
There's so many questions. I've heard a lot of, the funny, not funny, but the crazy thing is the more that I learn, everybody says they want to know the truth, but I do not believe people can handle the truth. I think we will, as a coping mechanism, still block out the truth so that we can handle some of what's going on. Otherwise, we'd have to change our entire, being of what we do, how we think, how we feel.
Right.
We'd have to change so much rapidly to deal with and adapt to the truth, the reality of what's going on. I don't think we can handle it. I don't think we can.
Mm-hmm.
So our next, and I believe so far our last question is by Von Patrick. I've heard they plan to reveal themselves in 2027 as this was part of the pact with Eisenhower in 1954. Any thoughts on this? Well, let me just say this real quick. First of all, Eisenhower, if you did that because you thought you'd be dead by then, screw you, bro. That's messed up, man. That's cold, fam. Your grandchildren are going to be alive, you jerk. Or if if there's other reasons, okay, fine, whatever. But what are your thoughts on that?
I do hear this date quite a bit for different things. Now, I don't know a date, but I feel with everything in me that there's something coming. Something not new to us, maybe something we can't control, the government can't control. Right. I just feel it. And maybe it is around that date. It's certainly within our lifetime.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be well within our lifetime and very soon as well, if anything. My question is it good or bad or both, right? Is it a bad thing and then at first and then maybe it eventually evolves into a good thing? I don't know. I have no idea. I believe there may be a concern. Do you think that disclosure is related to this upcoming event?
I do, because look, they would not be telling us anything if it weren't. They're trying to prepare us in their own way, because this is a lot for them to be doing. Normally they'd say it's just a balloon,
rapidly too, by the way.
Right. Rapidly. I have questions for the alien. Right, it's swamp gas. I want to know who. I mean, it sounds funny, but seriously, who's artist alien that creates and designs their crafts? Are there craft like car lots and car salesmen?
Yeah.
And who makes their outfits? Because some of them have outfits. I want to know this.
Right.
Anyway.
So
I'm sorry.
Let me give you a theory, okay?
Okay.
There's a theory that maybe there is an artificially intelligent, craft, mega craft, mothership, whatever, that is creating the smaller ones to go all over the world, and that the real beings are actually on their way, and that they build them similar to what we do in a factory, where we just like automatically build them through some process, but only at an atomic level. Right? Not like we're thinking, we even smaller than atomic, an isotopic level.
Mhm.
And so if that's true, then we don't have enough time to prepare. If there's, I don't know if there's going to be a battle, but we don't have enough time to prepare to repel or defend. Or let's say they just want to come here and be like, hey, you know, we just go to planets and we kind of just take over. You guys can live here, but like it's ours now. Like,
Right.
what are we gonna do?
Oh my God.
There's nothing we can do. There's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of theories about that. I personally think I subscribe to the theory that this is not our planet.
Yeah,
Not our planet.
absolutely.
I
We're
don't think
we're
that.
created and put here, definitely.
That's kind of my impression. And not only is it not our planet, but also, my gosh, chat, you guys are active tonight. That is so interesting. Yeah, but also we are not our own. You know, we're not our own. Maybe we're somebody else's pet.
Right. I mean, look, we're a little ball of light that's put into this, and then we are all kinds of crap is pushing us so that we don't realize who we are. And then we die and we're this little light again. And I mean, something's going on. We're not in control, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I like this. I like this because I think that it adds a balance to the conversation. Shelley Montgomery asks, "What if they don't get along with each other? What if they join? What if they want to? What if some of them are like, you know, we're gonna help human beings. We're here to help you guys, and then other ones are like, we're gonna eat them." And I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
God.
I use that as an extreme joke. I do not think they want to eat
We're
us.
snacks.
But like it's like delicacy. Hum de la huma, you know,
We're
like,
truffles.
no, but like what if there's a conflict between different races of beings?
I think there are. I think there is. I really do. Because, you know, people, I've read and heard that people think the true government are reptilians or royalty or, you know.
The Simpsons.
And and so maybe the ones that are trying to get our attention are the nice ones that just can't get close because of these other things that are in charge. So I think there's a battle already here, you know.
Like this. Look at them. Look at that right there. That's probably what they look like.
I hope not. Oh,
I wouldn't be surprised after all the sniffing I've seen. Anyway, I'll just. Anyway, sorry.
the
Peanut
Simpsons,
asks,
dude. The Simpsons knows The Simpsons
something.
tells the future a lot. Actually,
I know that weird picture, image of Donald Trump holding the globe with Saudi Arabia. Are you kidding me? Why would they do that to me? Do you have any idea what you did to me? I got enough problems with conspiracy theories. Why would you do that to me? All right. So are some people born evil? Like if they are descendants of lower beings, can it be unlearned? If so, that is a very interesting and I think complex question, right? I mean, that's a deep question.
Okay, so as a mom, I'd like to say I always view children as innocent and they're all good, but there have been some that really were born not well, you know, and they evil, I guess you could say. Are they born with attachments? Because you know, look, there are, what are they called, jumpers, where someone passes away and a spirit jumps in and that person lives again and it lives in the body.
Oh, that is crazy. No,
Right.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
It happens, and I'm sure sometimes, unfortunately, that happens with births. I mean, look, there's a lot of it is how the parents, how they grow up. Is it a chemical imbalance? But you know, evil is real, unfortunately, and sometimes it does happen. But most times, 99.9 children are born good.
I think most of us subscribe to that. I know some people would say, you know, oh, everyone starts off fresh, but I don't know, man. I hear you with that. I know someone personally who, from a very little kid, he was different in a very scary way. Like something was afflicting him on the inside.
Right.
And I think that we have enough time for a couple more questions, but let's just ask a simple one. Is the Galactic Federation real?
I think it is. I'd like to hope it is. A lot of important government people have talked about it. A lot of people have remote viewed and experienced some of it. I think it's if anything, it's a neat idea, but I do truly believe in it. Yeah. Do you?
I don't. I
I
think
mean, I
that
don't know, but
let me just say, let me be more clear about that, okay? I think that there probably is a group of different races or beings,
yeah.
or maybe they seem different. I don't know. I think there is a group of them that work together. I still am not sure if they're the same thing manifesting in different forms.
Right.
That's kind of what my perception of a lot of these things are. It's almost like it's the same thing manifested in different ways for different purposes.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can't answer that question. Now, in terms of like the actual Galactic Federation, I do not think so at all. The only reason I don't think so is because if they're here, then they're not doing their job at all.
Right.
They're not non-interventionist, obviously, which
Mhm.
means they do intervene, but they're not
Mhm.
intervening in a way that's useful for humanity because people are
Right.
still suffering immensely in
Suffering.
this world.
Yeah.
So if they're here, they suck. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's like so many
You guys suck.
there could be so much that I mean, I'm not a intergalactic federation member, but I can think of a couple of things like, here's a technology that could solve 97% of the world's problems. Let's just use it and tell them to like do something, right?
I
Um,
think there's some type of, I guess, law you could say that where they can't intervene with certain things that we do. I guess it's a free will thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, free will is here's two paths you can take. Pick one. That's what I think free will is. You know what I mean? To a point.
I agree with you. I think that free will is, it's unanimous, or I should say universal. Everybody has it, for the most part, and it's up to us to decide what we're going to do with ourselves and that free will.
Right.
I mean, that's part of the deal of free will. And the last question of the night. I'm going to try to pick okay, Joseph Yanni. Do you think narcissists are here for us to teach something? That's a good question because I was told the
Unfortunately.
soulmates challenge. Unfortunately,
What were you taught? A soulmate's what?
somebody who challenges you, somebody who pushes you to be better. It could be a guy at the grocery store cursing you out. That's teaching you how to have tolerance and patience and so
Right.
forth, and or something to that effect. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't
I
be
do.
surprised.
Everything, good and bad, is a lesson. Um, it all depends on what our soul picks to learn.
Hmm.
And sometimes we have to learn some pretty crappy things, and narcissists are part of that crappy thing.
Dag
But look,
nabbit.
well, whatever. Yeah, I'm not going to get into
She was about to go ham on somebody.
it. Yeah.
Stuart, I know you're out there somewhere. You deserve everything that you're about to get
Hi,
energetically
Marty.
in mind.
Yeah.
Marty, thank you for the question. Everybody, I want to say thank you all for being so great and so kind to LaLa because she took the time out of her day. 2 hours of that, by the way. It is 2:00 in the morning. And you're here doing this for us. And more specifically for me, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate you doing that. Thank
This
you.
is wonderful. I'm having a great time. Thank you so much.
I always have a great time talking to you, honestly, and I really appreciate what you did for me. Ladies and gentlemen, check out the website, LaLaBrightLLC.com, correct?
Yes. Yep.
LaLaBrightLLC.com. If you have questions, if you want to get in contact with LaLa, you have to go to her website because you're going to want to take advantage of having a one-on-one conversation with her. Trust me. I've had one.
Thank
It's
you.
bizarre. Thank you, LaLa.
Thank you very much.
I'll catch you all on the other side of the break, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be back with the roundtable, and it's going to be great. Radio YouTube channel tonight. I'm your host, Marquise, aka Dr. Door, accompanied by Science Bob and science and UAP researcher Louis Borges, joining me for a roundtable tonight to talk about some very intelligent things that I'm trying to keep up with. Now, I'm not as smart as these two chaps right here, but I'm going to try to keep up with these two chaps because I want to feel smart tonight. I want to feel smart, like I'm from Boston. I'm doing a terrible job with that Boston accent. I know. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I welcome back all of our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch viewers. Don't forget, you can check out our archives. They are free at youtube.com/space.radio. Our website is space.radio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out the Bumblefoot. And a great way to show support for SOR is by smashing that like button and abduct and subscribe. Come on, y'all. Let's do this. So, Science Bob, Louis Borges, how are you guys doing tonight?
Super duper.
Doing good. Thanks for having me. Nice to see you again, Bob.
Hey, Louis. How's it going?
Going well, brother. Looking forward to our chat. Let's get into it.
All right.
It's
It'll
gonna
be fun.
awesome. Yeah, I got a couple things that I wanted to talk about tonight. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is an up-to-date. I think it's really relevant to the conversation in the field, the UFO or UAP field, if you will. And that is about the new legislation that has been put forth. And so allow me to pull up that legislation. So a group of senators led by Senator, Senate leader, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer has introduced a new amendment to the annual defense bill that would require the federal government to disclose records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena, UAP, UFOs. That's what they're also known as. Of course, we call them UFOs. The amendment is called the UAP Disclosure Act of 2023, and it's inspired by the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992. There's a lot of controversy with that aspect of it. I understand. We'll talk about that. The amendment would create a public collection of records on UAPs and UFOs at the National Archives and Records Administration, unless, of course, a review board decides to keep them classified for national security reasons. Kind of feels like we're looping back to the same problem that we had before, but we're hoping that it's going to be different this time because there's an effort to push for truth. The amendment would also establish a mechanism for future research on UAPs and UFOs to be made public, which has never been done before, and at least not in this capacity, in my opinion. So let's talk about it. What do you guys think about this amendment?
Go ahead, Bob. You know quite a bit more about it than me. I'll go after you.
Okay. All right. So Schumer and a bunch of people helping him has passed an amendment bill. It's gone through the Senate. I don't know. I don't think it's gone through the House yet, but it's been put up and passed by the Senate. And basically, it's like, wow. It's anybody who has anything that even smells like a UFO or UAP or knowledge of or whatever, we now assert eminent domain. I don't care if it's a person, the government entity, or a corporation. It's now ours, and we asserted that ownership by the power of eminent domain given us in the Constitution. That's number one. And they get people who have knowledge of any of this stuff, whether they're in government, no matter what department, they have 180 days to tell Congress. And then from this day forward, if anything related to non-human intelligence, alien craft, whatever, it is now unclassified. No matter what classification it is, it's now unclassified. But everyone will hold close what used to be classified and hand it to a committee appointed by the president. And if you want to gripe and complain about it being unclassified, you got to come to them and argue that it has to be classified. Otherwise, it's going to be unclassified and can be distributed. So this is a hard-nosed, really tough bill. We are sick of this secrecy. We are ending it. We don't care how you got a UFO. It's ours.
I think it's awesome. I think, honestly, the fact that they're doing the exact opposite with this, right? You don't fight to have it declassified. They got to fight to have it classified.
Yes.
That was probably my favorite part about what you just said, because, again, They can still classify it and say that it's classified for national security reasons, but they got to have a good reason for it, a dang good reason, as you said.
Yep.
So Louis, what do you think, man? What is your perspective?
That was the first thing that came to my mind is like, oh yeah, great. They're going to tell everybody they have to submit everything they have. But as Grush mentioned, one of the big issues here is unnecessarily overclassifying stuff. So if it didn't have that written into it, it would be totally useless. Now, I still, in my heart of hearts, think it's going to be black redacted files. Like I still can't see total transparency. And even when you have guys like Grush giving information to people supposedly able to do something with it, it seems to be somewhat stonewalled. So again, create another department head by the White House or the president, more oversight. I mean, I'm skeptical. I do want to believe that this is good. It is good that it's getting, paper. It's gone through through Congress. That's good. Hopefully the House passes that. They could still block it though, right? This is still not a slam dunk. If I understand.
No, if Congressman Turner, who is bought and paid for by the companies that have stuff, and he represents the congressional district in Ohio that has Wright-Patterson in it. So he and his constituents in that district who help support his reelection campaigns and have lots of workers and bases in his district. They're trying to get him to get in the way of it. He is the chair of the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He has the ability to not let it through committee. So let's just hope that doesn't happen.
So he alone can block it, or does it need to?
He alone cannot allow it out of committee, so that if the House goes through regular order, in order to have a bill pass the House, it has to go to the relevant committee that has purview over that part of the government. The committee gets there and argues about it and then votes on it. But if the committee is ruled with an iron fist by their chairs. So if the chair says we're not even looking at this, that's it. The House, the Speaker of the House can bring it to the floor for a vote. But that's being nasty to a committee chair. They don't like to do it.
So then you think that this is going to be a fight? There's some infighting going on. I mean,
we already know there's fighting. The people that want to keep this secret. Look, they just went after Grush by leaking his files.
Yep.
Okay, so they want to keep it secret. They do not want this stuff out there. And I think there's stuff that they just don't want people to know. And some of us, I don't know whether people listened last night, but let's just refresh. Let's suppose that everything Grush says is true, and a bunch of stuff that Rick Doty has told us is true. Then they have access and knowledge of, and they've even figured out how to duplicate devices that will capture 0-point energy, if you want to call it that, and make free energy for everyone. I want to. You can't even fathom the industries and jobs, etc., that will end overnight. It'll end it. And so there'll be a lot of opposition to that. No more oil wells will ever be needed. So if you're making millions of dollars a year as a person owning an oil well or a company owning an oil well, it'll no longer be needed because your oil is not needed.
Yeah.
So that industry is dead overnight. That'll be trillions of dollars of wealth evaporated by disruptive technology. So I think there's a lot of opposition for that reason from all sorts of people. Then let's suppose that the people that hold the secret, they know something really bad and they're worried about disrupting the whole world. And of course, them maybe ending the energy industry and other things is really bad. But let's suppose they know of a disaster that's coming and it'll be here next week or next year or next decade. I mean, imagine this disruption to society of suddenly telling them, hey, the world's going to end in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's just a lot of tough stuff that it might be there.
The thing with oil too is there's like political ramifications. Countries have alliances based on their willingness to sell and buy oil from each other, both military, economically.
No. It's just look. The world's economy and trade is run by United States petrodollars.
Yeah,
it'll end it.
Everything.
It'll end the control of the world's money flows by the United States petrodollar, because petroleum will be worth nothing compared to what it is.
I think Richard Dolan has done some talking to that effect too, right? Like
He has.
in regards to that. Yeah, it's scary implications, and you never know, right? Crypto came out of nowhere and had a huge rise. You never know. Things come out of nothing and become something real quick. And sometimes before people can react, it's too late, right? So could have good or negative implications for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always concerned about the implications of a potential cataclysm or catastrophe or whatever that they may be aware of, and that they're thinking that it's better to just I was asked this question: if you were on a sinking ship, right, and you knew that there's nothing you can do about it, would you tell everyone so that they're all scared until the moment that their life is over, or would you just wait because you're all going to die anyway? So there's really no point in panicking everyone for their slow and inevitable demise. And I toiled with that question. There's another implication here as well that has been thrown around in the UFO field, UAP field, that it's possible that by telling the world about the presence of this non-human intelligence, by having that open admission, that we will in essence trigger that event, that would be the trigger of that event. That potential problem, and that the government and the DoD are actually the heroes of the story here, because they're trying to prevent this triggering of event by not telling us. What do you guys think about that? I'm honestly serious about this. This is a real take that some people have.
I think if they were that powerful, they could just, usurp that power. I think that's, again, a little bit of the human ego thinking we have some control. If these non-human intelligence are as advanced as we think, they can literally do anything. They could be controlling minds, making the decision makers make the decisions they want. It would be an easy thing to stifle it. And as you said earlier, if that's their mission, they're doing a pretty poor job of keeping things quiet, right? So
the people, I keep hearing this crap of, hey, who are you to tell us that the government can keep something like this secret for 80 years? The government hasn't kept it secret for 80 years. Yeah. It's leaked nonstop since the day the Roswell crash happened. And the story's been told 1,000 times. But what they've done is put together a masterful disinformation campaign and psyop that's made people think speaking about UFOs will make you look crazy and you'll lose your job and whatever. And they've done a great job of making it look foolish. And even though the truth has come out, no one believes it.
Yeah, you can bully witnesses and people that have seen things, but how does that go further than that? You bring in people's reputation, you make it socially unacceptable, stigmatic, all that.
Exactly. They've done it's masterful.
Yeah.
You mentioned last night about the whole, or earlier about the what we talked about last night. Briefly, I'll mention, in case anyone doesn't know, there was a reporter who leaked David Grush's medical information, not just his publicly available FOIA requested information, but his actual medical diagnosis, which is supposed to be HIPAA protected. You can look up police reports and find out about criminality, but you're not supposed to be able to find out about medical diagnosis. That is between a person and their doctor. And this person was given, as he stated on the news recently, he said he was given, nudged and fed where to essentially look for specific information about David Grush. He said it.
He admitted it on air in an interview that he had been told where to look by bad people.
He said the DOD. He specifically said the DOD and the IC. And again, several times. Now, I can't imagine being able to say that loud and proud, and then not thinking that you just implicated yourself. You just told on yourself.
How do you not get sued for that? I mean, in Canada, it's different.
The thing I don't want. Why wouldn't his employer fire him before they have a massive loss?
Well, they gave him his independent show, I believe, or something to that effect. He trolled the whole world. News Nation picked it up. He said, after 3 years, this news station has let me go, or something to that effect. And News Nation reported on that. And then right after that, underneath, he said, by giving me my own show. And like, he trolled people. He trolled the media. He trolled the world because and then used that as a way to say, see, look, there's fake news out there. If you don't think this is a terrible human being, I don't know, man. I feel like that's a really bad thing to do. That's not honest. It's disingenuous to trick people, to try to get people to report on things by deceiving them and then calling them deceptive by reporting on your deceit. Yeah.
He mentions that he wasn't trying to, use PTSD against the guy, but he also mentioned that he got sick of reading that Grush was a decorated, combat veteran. So what, you want to replace the narrative to alcoholic with PTSD instead? And you're trying to tell everybody that you're just not a biased guy. You're just trying to give the other side of the story. Like, and who are your sources? Grush has sources too. And, they work in big places. It's not just some reporter. And by the way, if anybody can name off another article this guy's ever written, I'll give you $100 right now. Never heard of this guy ever before now. And I think the only reason he can do it without getting sued for defamation of character or who knows what else is there's some kind of protection happening here.
You have freedom of the press in the United States and the anti-defamation laws in the United States compared to Britain and Canada and other members of the Commonwealth. It's weak. We have the weakest defamation laws. Man, I'm ready to pass a law that says, I'm ready to change the First Amendment to no member of government can lie. No member of government or corporation can lie to the American people.
Wow.
Boy, would that change the world.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
That wouldn't run in Canada either, just for the record.
It'd be the end of politics, like forever.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Yeah. So do you think that with this legislation, despite the issues that are happening with this smear campaign against Grush, do you think that legislation is going to lead to any real changes for what we consider disclosure? That is the open admission by the authorities, the powers that be, that we are not alone in the universe. And not only that, but they're here on this planet.
Well, I think the law says explicitly that's the goal, is to tell people what the situation is and only keep those parts that are truly secret and might help our adversaries classified. Like, in other words, a picture of a triangle that where you can see right down to the rivet bolts is not classified. But maybe the instrumentality that took the picture and how it was gathered, we won't describe it at all because that'll help our adversary. I mean, already they can dumb these pictures down to the point where it just won't be possible. I think the thing they don't want to do is where we have overhead in orbit collection facilities of radio, chemical composition, photos, down to the square meter level from on orbit. They don't want to tell people our capabilities and what instrument got the thing that they're showing. And so, And then there's this big secret, as we were talking about this system that supposedly the National Reconnaissance operates on behalf of the government called Sentient, that's fusing all of these different sensors into a single product, and it's learned through machine learning how to predict things. And according to the story that's been going around everywhere, the thing's found this massive UFO that's spitting out Tic Tacs and manufacturing them underneath the Atlantic Ocean. And they're hostile because some things that have approached them have been vaporized.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that to be very disturbing. And when I found out that Jacques Vallée has known about this and written about it, he just was a little bit elusive. He was specific about the capability of this sentient and then the documents were released to the public. Somebody FOIA requested the documents. I believe John Greenwald and some other people actually FOIA requested the documents that talk about specifically that sentient program or technology. And so this is wild to me. What's wild to me is that this is happening right underneath our ocean, and yet we can't do anything about it, and we're not even telling people that it's there. And I think that I personally think that if they don't tell us soon, then people will panic whenever something does happen. If there ever is an encounter, for example.
Of course, and you've got John Ramirez and others. John Ramirez is the best known, but there are lots of others, including Chris Bledsoe and LaLa and others saying, hey, look, in 2027, something's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Louis, what have you heard about? Do you remember John Ramirez talking about that and this idea that there's, or this sentient? I know that I brought this up. We talked about it last night, but and I know this is kind of off the cuff here, but what are your thoughts on that? The possibility that there is something coming in 2027, so to speak, or maybe
when
soon.
we interviewed him on our podcast, he did mention that he is a believer of that. So, and he did mention that he's been told that there are things coming in the future too. But again, I'm a little reserved. You know, Y2K, everybody thought the world was going to end, and it was Mayan calendar. This is not the first time there's been one of these events, but I do think as a population, people are more awakened. There is more exchange of information that if ever there was, a cataclysmic signal, I would trust it more now than 25 years ago. So, I'm hoping that's not the case. But again, too, we don't want to play God, but some of us have some help from somewhere. We don't know where this information's coming. But, I think LaLa said earlier she believes there are two factions, not necessarily good and bad, but just with different agendas. And I think that would reign true as well.
Yes, she talked to me about, I had her do a reading. I won't say of who, because that's for another day. But she told me there's a craft coming with a non-human intelligence in charge of it, with humans working on board the craft, and it's headed this way. Mm-hmm. And it has a lot of power.
Yeah, the question is, what do they want? Because
exactly.
I've always wondered,
what are their intentions? And she's awfully reticent to just say this is the ironclad truth. I know this is going to happen, but I mean, she and Ramirez and Bledsoe, they all sound very similar.
Now, on their way, would that allude to them like traveling on a craft through space?
Yeah.
Huge. Yeah.
I mean, let's suppose we believe. Again, let's go back to let's believe Richard Doty. EBE knows how to travel here, and they come from Zeta Reticuli, and it takes a little while to get here from when they start. And it sounds like, and we've been able to talk to them remotely since they landed in Roswell, if you believe Richard Doty. Okay, so maybe they picked up maybe they phoned home to the human folks or the EBE we've had in captivity for a while, and they said, hey, look, we're coming. We'll be there in 10 years. You better be ready. And so according to Ramirez, we got a message and interacted that we'll be there in 10 years. And that was 7 years ago. 6 years ago. So we got 4 more.
Yeah, there's some very interesting that makes me think of many different things. There have been beings here interacting with humanity for multiple purposes. Some of them, I believe, have integrated into our society. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that there's a hybridization program, and some of them have literally been here. You can go to the Men in Black if you'd like to. You can talk about the idea that there's some talk about leadership being non-human, which is a whole nother bizarre topic to talk about at some point someday. And if that's true, are they all a part of the same faction, or are they part of something else? And then these differing agendas, it's really concerning, because I think that the government should have involved us. Again, before we go to our first and last break of the night, I always wonder if maybe not telling people, because by telling your friends, you could be telling your enemy. So that could be a possibility as well. The reason why they're keeping it is because they're listening too. They're here watching, listening, everything. If we tell everybody, they're going to find out, and they can maybe show up today. Like Lou Elizondo said, instead of coming in 10 years, they might show up tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to our last break of the night. And when we come back, I've got another topic for us to talk about. It's going to be a doozy. So stay tuned, everyone. Be right back. 30 minutes of the show tonight. I am here with Science Bob. Science Bob, how you doing after this break, sir?
Doing great. I shared a picture.
All right, I'm going to pull that up here in a second. And of course, Louis Borges, the science and UAP researcher who is been doing this for quite some time, the guy that got me into this whole thing right here. How you doing, Louis, after this break? Science Bob, did you send that to me? Did you send that to me on Facebook or
No. It's in the studio.
Oh,
It's
you
in
got
the
it.
back.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's in the studio.
I'm going to pull this up here, everybody.
And Louis, you're muted.
Oh,
Okay.
I thought maybe he didn't hear me.
Apologies.
I was like,
I
man,
muted, or was I intentionally muted? You sound to me
I
like
didn't mute you. I did not do that. No. I did
Oh
not
no,
mute
you were
I didn't
talking
know.
and no sound was coming out. So
No,
look,
Yeah,
Well, I said thanks. Glad to be here. Enjoy chatting with you guys. Now we're all caught up.
I
Let's
was
go.
like, dang, that's all right, Louis. I guess
Okay, so I promised the audience in the LaLa's last half hour that I would show this picture. So we're out on our back deck, and LaLa says, "Okay, let me have the camera. I need to shoot a picture." So she takes the camera, points it out across our backyard, and takes a picture. And this thing shows up in the picture, and it's 6 feet in front of us. And this weird smoke with this alien face in it. And that is literally 6 feet away from us. Here you can see there's two eyes, the
It almost
nose.
looks like a skull.
Yes, you can see the being right there. And so, what can I say? I mean, you see this kind of stuff and all doubt disappears. You just, okay, this stuff is real. And they're trying to let us see them, let us talk to them. We better figure out what they want.
It's problematic because you think of entities, intelligences existing like as a physical form, but that's not always the case. And I think with this phenomena, I personally think that's why they gave this ambiguous term, anomalous phenomena, unidentified anomalous phenomena, because there are things like this they can't explain with like a craft or anything like that. Like orbs, for example. What are those? LaLa mentioned that I talked about a document that was from, I believe, FBI or CIA. Through for your requests, people were pulling up lately where there are 3 grays that turned into orbs. Well, what do you call that? And they turn into a craft. What do you call that? Is it a craft? Is it an organism? How do they merge together? What the heck is that?
And you can tell from all these revelations and everything you're hearing, and only testimonies that Corbell and Knapp will bring forward to talk these committees and see it. All they care about is craft. They don't care about anything else. They don't want to hear about this. They don't want to talk to experiences. All they want these people to look at is craft.
Can I give a defense? Yeah, can I give a defense for that? Yeah. I will say this much. I mean, think about how hard it is for us to have these conversations. You know, people may be receptive because they respect you and they know you. They've seen you a lot, but not always. Like this conversation is being had in the public view where people don't believe that anything exists that's not, visceral for them. And so when you give them something, they need something tangible enough for them to accept. Even though there's a greater truth out there, they're not going to be able to accept all of it. They need the baby feeding them. And I try to do that myself. But I think that Jeremy Corbell, and I'm going to take the stand just personally. I like what they're doing because there's a lot of people that are, they're just like rejecting the whole topic. Tell them that there's beings that exist that are not physical, and they're going to just be like, I'm done. I'm over it. I can't handle it.
Okay. I'm going to give everybody 10 more seconds. Screen grab this if you want it, or go to our Facebook page and download it if you want it. It's in our shared folder of all of our evidence, which has hundreds of things in it by now. But this was the thing that really woke me up. I mean, it really did.
I want to show you guys something.
I was going to say, Bob, what do you say to like skeptics? If somebody's like, oh, that's pareidolia, that's like seeing Jesus in a cloud. What do you say? I know you've had numerous experiences. So for you, it's black and white. Yeah. But if somebody's seeing this for the first time and thinks it's just our imaginations going crazy.
I tell you exactly what I say. Enjoy it. Look at it. Take away what you want for it. My job is not to convince you.
Right.
My job is to let you see it and to make of it what you want. I'm not making a single claim about this other than the two of us sitting on our back porch picked up a camera and clicked, and that was on the digital frame. You interpret it any way you want. I know how I interpret it. That's a being that wanted me to know it was there.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to stop sharing it.
There, before you take it off, there's one more orb. It looks like sort of top right
On the
corner.
right, yeah. I just caught that.
There's a little tiny orb in there too.
There's an orb right there.
Right there. Yeah.
Right, because she's not pointing at the sky. She's pointing at our yard. There's no part of the sky that's in the field of view. And that orb, she catches orbs with this camera all of the time. I mean, so probably I can find one. Let me do this. That's slow. Just let me keep going back here. Oh, yeah, this is
Marquise, to your point about the craft thing, sort of the baby steps, it also makes sense too. If these whistleblowers are in front of Congress, you probably have a higher probability of getting their attention with things flying near our military planes than, hey, these people see lights in their backyard, right? Like, they probably feel it's a stronger argument to start off that way, because it just think about how hard people are debunking it as it is. You got people with rank and credibility and all this stuff, and they're still throwing stones. If it was Bob and LaLa, they would just roast them, you know?
Yeah,
I know. Yeah. I want to show you guys. That's actually exact. I mean, again, I appreciate that you guys both understand that, because I've actually had some real battles. I mean, Louis, you've watched me battle with my own audience sometimes. I've had some real battles about that type of argument.
If you want to, you can share the surveillance craft that we have, like dozens of pictures of it around our house, and that we flew by in front of our security cameras on our. We got this on video, and look at the definition in it.
Yeah,
there's no wing, no propulsion. It's just this thing that flies across the over our neighbor's house, and we see it all around our house on our cameras all the time. And it's some kind of surveillance, because it's always near us. We have no clue what it is.
It's almost like that cube encased in a sphere, except the sphere is a little off, but it's not far off.
Yeah,
I think it changed sizes. I mean,
yeah, it's just, what can you do? I mean, this stuff just happens to us all the time. You're talking about two people now that don't have any more doubt.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the picture that I pulled up from the alleged picture of the alien in Peru earlier with LaLa?
No.
I'm gonna pull it up here real quick.
I've seen what people claim to be. You know,
I don't know what to make of it, to be totally honest. I do find it interesting.
That's supposed to be a real picture.
It's supposed to be a real.
Yeah,
picture.
let me pull up one thing. Keep going. I'm going to pull up something else here.
This is a random Twitter handle, but it's been posted on many different Twitter handles, and a YouTuber called The Unexplained has a YouTube video about this. Let me pull up his. This is the unexplained version of it. I think it's a little bit better, a little bit clearer. I don't know, man. That looks pretty compelling.
That's real. That's phenomenal. But
yeah,
that is hard. I mean, compelling. I've fallen for so many good UFO and
I know.
Man.
Me too.
I don't believe any of them anymore because I don't want to look stupid.
I don't take a hard stance on anything. I just feel like it's super interesting.
Yeah.
And then there's this video that I also wanted to show you guys just real quick, just to kind of get through this real quick, because there's one more thing I really wanted to mention. It's really important. It's a development. That's a new story that happened. About increasing in sightings. But let me go ahead and pull this up for you guys to show you here. Tell me if you can see. Yeah, you can see this. I'm going to pull up the video, play it. I want you to tell me what you think. Allegedly, this is a video that was shown in previously, not recently, but these are the things that people have been catching in Peru since at least 2018. I'm sorry. Just take a look in behind the trees here.
Incredible new foot.
Let me mute this. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what to make of it but that's.
My default answer is fake, but if it's not, it's amazing.
Yeah, if it's not fake, it is amazing. It does look like them, to be honest with you, man. It looks like them. It walks like them. It looks like them. It's shaped like them. And even the movements that it make, that fluid, slow movement. I'm just gonna tell you from my personal experience of seeing them move, that's what got my attention. Personally,
this looks like the Skinny Bob video that Rich Doty claimed is real and was taken in S4.
I don't know, man. I've seen them myself. You can believe me if you want to. I don't personally care anymore, but they move like that. They're very fluid. They don't like have a change in speed or pace or movement.
They don't have a gait like an animal.
No,
would.
Man. No, they just like, and they're slow moving. They're slow moving. So if it's not real, somebody knows how they moved, or just so happens to guess how they move, and somehow created a dummy that can walk on its own in a very fluid and consistent movement. I don't know. I'm not. Again, I say it's compelling. Who knows? Who knows? There's
Now,
almost
we talk
no
about
way.
the face eaters. Like, there's been a video of apparently a corpse.
I think
pulled out of an
Petacaras, I think. Yeah.
But that was a video from several months earlier of either predation or cartel sort of, whatever they do. Because in the video, the corpse is lying under banana leaves. So it's already been found and covered by something. And it's like a fully fleshed human with no skin or flesh anywhere on the face. Very creepy, very graphic. But
are they claiming it's a chupacabra?
Well, they're saying it's piranha.
No, they're saying it's
if you fall in the water there, they eat your face.
Piranha.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but they're also not saying that this guy was shot in the back of the head first. So
I don't know. Yeah.
The last apparently that was a piranha attack from months earlier. People have put it all over Twitter. They're like, they eat faces. This is from Peru, but I don't believe it's connected. I think there is a little bit of extra happening here.
Plus, there was some blood, and usually when cattle mutilations, there's usually no blood from the cattle. I don't know. Again, I don't know. That video
ate the guy's face off anyway.
Yeah, it was pretty arbitrary. It was pretty arbitrary from the accounts in Peru. Just so everybody knows, that video of the man with his face taken off, there was like no context and no connection at all to that situation. So I don't know why they did that, but
usually the cartel, if they want to make a statement, they're going to leave people in the city hall, like downtown. They want to be found. They wouldn't just leave somebody face.
Yeah, as a warning to others.
Yeah. You screw us. This is what we do to you, right? That's the whole point of that kind of crazy violence, right? I would say piranha predation is my guess.
Yeah, and honestly, to everybody, it's up to you to decide. There's no way we can tell for sure about any of this, especially with these pictures and images, unless you know the person, you have a contact with them, and all that. We don't have any contact with these people.
And Carl Bittner's got a good point in the comments. Fresh bone isn't pure white. That was like acid cleaned, like they do for the skeleton at the Smithsonian. You know what I mean? It was prepared. It wasn't. Maybe small animals and fish can get to that surface level. I don't know. But that's a fair point, Carl.
I don't know. But I want to ask this question. I want to bring up this article, and I want to talk about it here. So it's by the Debrief, and it's about so the debrief reveals that more than 15 commercial aircraft pilots and crews have witnessed unusual aerial objects performing circular maneuvers in American airspace in recent weeks. The objects, dubbed racetrack UAPs for their distinctive flight paths, were observed by former Navy F-18 pilot Mark Hulsey and his co-pilot Keith on August 18, 2022, while flying a Gulfstream 650 private jet between Florida and Hawaii. They contacted the Los Angeles Air Route Traffic Control Center, the ARTCC, to report the object, which were not detected by radar. Several other airlines also reported seeing the objects over the radio. The debrief obtained transcripts of the radio communications and videos of the objects from researcher Ben Hansen, who first broke the story on social media and YouTube channel. Hansen also interviewed Hulsey and Keith, who said that the objects were bright, luminous, and fast, and that they did not resemble any conventional aircraft. They estimated that the objects were flying at an altitude of 5,000 to 10,000 feet above them. Now, there has been allegations of increase in sightings since 2021 by commercial air pilots. And they've been going on Twitter talking about it last year. All last year, these pilots were on Twitter saying, we're seeing an increase. It's not because we're more observant. We're seeing an actual increase. And there are other sources that say that there's an actual increase in sightings. Now, people have kind of pushed back on that by saying, oh no, our technology is getting better. But I'm not getting that impression from anywhere that when it comes to people that are in this observation of these types of phenomena. I'm hearing that they are actually seeing an increase. And as we heard at the hearings, Ryan Graves and Fravor said the exact same thing, that there was an increase in those sightings. So I want to start
Ryan Graves said something about a sighting near Hawaii and one in the North Atlantic, almost like near Canada, right? But again, too, where does that information go? Like, has it been given to the right people? Is anything happening from that? I don't doubt that there's an increase, but in terms of the sensors, we're upgrading our military. and the Navy's upgrading to like Spy 1 radar. But the average commercial planes don't need upgraded sensors for UAP detection. So I'm not saying they're not advanced, but they're not military, and they're certainly not doing upgrades unless that we know of to find UAP. So it's almost like the airline pilots are saying, we've been hiding this stuff and deleting things for months, but now it's like 5 times the volume. Now I'm going to say something.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking that there needs to be this reporting that's being talked about with legislation needs to really happen soon. Bob?
Yeah, so I just wanted to point out that there's a researcher who's, I'm getting old, so his name escapes me, but he did a request from the FAA for a particular type of database of drone sightings or something like that. And it turned out that that's where all the UFO sightings by airline pilots are going. And there's a massive increase in the number of those things in that database, and it is not explainable by the increased number of people flying drones, because the drones that are being sighted in there are way too high to be a battery operated drone.
Yep. Yeah, somebody actually brought that up on my live stream today. They were like, "Oh, you need to look at," I think it was UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, something like that. And I was like, and I looked it up, and I'm like, what is this? It's a drone program. It's a swarm, UAV swarm. And I looked it up, and it's just drones, but they don't. First of all, they don't emit light at that luminous intensity. First of all, they don't have the energy to do that for too long. They can't hover for hours at a time like that with that amount of that intensity of light. They can't travel at Mach speeds, let alone Mach speeds with no sonic boom. First of all, they'd break up apart if they travel too fast. Yeah, it just sounds really not
even a commercial plane's going like 580 miles an hour. Let's say there's no commercial drone that's going to be able to pace a friggin' 747. You know, like you don't have to go Mach 5. Well, it's hard enough to go 600 miles an hour in a drone. You know,
and there's this recent video taken by an airline pilot where a thing flies across and it's a flying saucer, conventional flying saucer, and it's highly resolved. He got an excellent picture. People say, "Oh, that's a Mylar balloon." You don't come at an aircraft doing 550 miles an hour and it go across from as far as you can see all the way across in front of your craft, and it be a standing still Mylar balloon.
Yeah, that's
right. Because it's keeping a pace. It's doing in the same direction you're going, at least 500 miles an hour or whatever it is.
You probably wouldn't see it if it was
there are a lot of dumb people making negative comments.
Yeah, that's for sure.
If you go to a car race and they're doing 150 mile an hour, when they rip by you, you can barely make out the color of the car. Yeah. So if it was standing still and something passed it at 500 plus mile an hour,
you couldn't see it.
You wouldn't even know it was there.
You wouldn't even know it was there.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to show you guys something, and I know this is so random. We only have 6 minutes. I just feel like I saw this earlier and I wanted to make sense of it. I don't know if you know anything about it, but this is apparently an airline video of the Malaysian Airlines MH370 disappearance. That was they closed the case of it. The FBI closed the case after their investigation. But let me just show you guys what this footage shows. So let's check it out and then we'll talk about it. Right now, you're going to see the plane flow into the camera view, and it's going to follow this plane, and it follows it for a little bit, and then there's these UAPs that zoom in, or UFOs, whatever you want to call them, and they circle it. They start to one by one circle it, and then all of a sudden, this is authentic footage, by the way. This is not
MH370 confirmed.
Confirmed. I will send you guys both the original links to this. And look, and this is something that happened. The FBI investigated it. They said they found the wreckage and that there was no foul play. However, what the heck? And this
MH370 has not been found.
No,
it has definitely not been found.
They found some pieces that they think might be from it, but it's definitely not been found.
Well, check this out.
I can tell you from looking at that's not an error.
It just disappears.
It just disappears.
But I can tell you from looking at that, that's not an Airbus.
What do you mean?
That's not an Airbus airplane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I
So
mean,
I don't know. So whatever it is, it's interesting, but it's not MH370.
Yeah.
Mm.
If it's
I'll send
legit
you-
though, it's a plane disappearing though. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you
That's
the
way
link.
cool.
It's being circulated all over. They're revisiting it. So let me just MH. Hold on,
It's
let me
kind of
revisit it.
reminiscent of the Bermuda Triangle, right? Where all those fighter
Yeah.
guys disappeared, and then they sent up a search party, and they disappeared too.
Yeah, Flight 19
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah, it's being circulating pretty much everywhere. Everywhere. But I'm going to send you guys the origin of that video because I think that doing this is not helpful. It's Twitter. I understand. Personally, I'm very reluctant to share videos on Twitter, but I feel like it's really relevant because I've heard about this and I've seen that footage like years ago. Or is it a year ago? Maybe a year ago.
Okay,
year
so
ago,
first of all, I need provenance from beginning to end. And number two, I want a major, well-known, certified digital forensics person who looks at video to tell me it's not CGI. And until then, don't bother me.
More important for me, and this is because I don't think we're going to get that right now anyway. I don't think that anybody's doing that. What I want to know is, I got the source for that video. I can tell you the source. You can take their analysis of the video. From what I understand, they dismiss entirely what we saw as a distortion or some kind of a mistake of the camera footage. When you see the analysis of the origin of that video, I would be like, I don't know, man, that seems a little fishy to me, but I don't know what to say about it, to be honest. I just think it's another compelling, interesting footage. If these things are happening, because we've heard about, if you look at Leslie Kean's book, UFOs, pilots, generals, and government officials go on the record, she mentions encounters with the military and UFOs, UAPs, where pilots disappear. They're gone. They're there and then they're gone. Nothing. Or they crash. They encounter an actual UAP. They have the comms recorded. And as all of a sudden they see a craft and they start freaking out and then boom, they're gone.
Yeah, there's a very famous case that where we have the audio tapes, etc., that happened near Australia. And the pilot was flying from the mainland to Tasmania.
Right.
And it just disappeared on the way.
Yeah.
That's a well-documented case.
Is it the one where he says he's freaking out as well?
Yes, he's freaking out, and all of a sudden he's gone. No wreckage was ever found.
Was this the one where the craft apparently went to the belly of his plane, somehow attached itself to him?
Yeah.
I've heard that
he's
gone.
He's gone.
He's freaked out.
You can listen to the audio.
Yeah. It's terrifying. It's
pretty creepy.
It's terrifying. But that's all the time we have tonight. I really appreciate you guys joining. It's already that time. It's already that time. So, Science Bob, Louis Borges, thank you for joining us tonight. I will catch you guys on the airwaves.
And LaLa had a good time with the audience. It was great.
LaLa was awesome, man. I appreciate her time. 2 hours she spent with me. So that was awesome. You guys, everybody loved her. So thanks, guys. All right, ladies and gentlemen, say bye-bye to our guests. It's been a pleasure having them on with us today. I want to give a special thanks to the super chatters tonight because you guys shared some love with us. So that would be Science Bob, of course, with that big fat super chat. Thanks, Science Bob. The Debster, Von Patrick again, and Cat Chaser. Thank you all for your super chats for the night. I want to thank you all for being so kind to LaLa. She was a wonderful person, a wonderful soul. And I want to say good night to you all. So a special thanks to everyone listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thanks to everyone participating in the chat and being friendly on Facebook, YouTube, and the Spaced Out Travelers Club on our website and on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyrighted by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Ltd. That's limited. Thanks for sharing your evening with us because together, my friends, you know what we do. We own the night.